Of the United States Auto Club featuring the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. It is the finale, the 58th running of the Western World Championships. Last night set tonight, there will be no qualifying, and if you look at the USAC lineup, 3 qualifying events will set the stage. Top 5 in each of these moving on. The top 2 going on into the Underwood Dash. $5,000 to earn the pole here tonight.
Absolutely, Brian, and so many exciting things to look forward to tonight. You talked about the Underwood Dash. A lot of races, sometimes even big races in the Midwest, don't get, that much money just for a short stint, and it's kind of a pursuit-style event. I talked to Todd Underwood Thursday night, and boy, he sure is excited for everything going on with that Underwood Dash. And Brian, also, of course, the finale, as you said, for the season when it comes to the Amsoil USAC National Sprint Car Championship, with it being $35,000 to win. That is a chunk of change. I know that will carry these teams through the offseason if they're able to get it.
Definitely that. You throw the lap money in on top of that as well. It's amazing what is being offered up. Over $100,000 paid out this weekend alone. And looking at the run of show, we're going to start things off tonight. Opposite of what we had last night, we'll have our Sand Chevrolet Wild West 360 sprint cars. They will start things off with their hot lap session. We'll come out our USAC sprint cars. They will hot lap by their group. Once they get wrapped up, we'll go into opening ceremonies. We'll have our Underwood at Dash Hot Laps. The 4 drivers locked in from last night's feature event will come out. They'll get a chance to look at the racetrack. We'll have our 360 heats. We'll have our USAC qualifiers, our 360 B main, a USAC C main if it is needed. We'll have the Underwood Dash. And you talked about that's a pursuit race. They'll run in 3-lap increments. We'll take them out, run 3 laps. Last 2 in line, you're off the track. If you cause a caution, you're off the track. That's how you lose on that deal. Run another 3 laps. Last 2, okay, you're off. The final 3-lap segment, 4 cars, top 4. And again, the Underwood Dash. Todd Underwood, I don't think people realize what he actually does for this sport, especially with the Reinbold Underwood Motorsports team. Everybody knows Andy. Andy, of course, he started his business. He started racing in this area. I remember whenever he was behind the wheel of a sprint car down here. And Todd's the one behind the scenes. He takes those rigs. He takes the cars. If they go 10 times a year across the country, it's Todd. So naming that after him and the perpetual trophy that goes with it, really a nice nod and a nice gesture to somebody who does a lot of behind the scenes of this sport.
You said it perfectly there, Brian. And Todd, too, like Andy, has been involved for this so long, and he's always one of those guys that you see at the racetrack. He's always happy to be here. Good, bad, or indifferent night for those race cars. Todd is one of the guys that is really the backbone of non-wing sprint car racing. So to have that race, like you said, too, the pursuit race, I think that makes it even cooler. We talked about our top 4 lock-ins from last night, the heat winners plus the second driver in the qualifiers, I should say, not heat races tonight, but the top 2 out of your qualifiers going to that as well. That's going to be a neat thing to watch in the qualifiers as well, Brian, because sure, it's always nice to win, but it's going to be a big deal for these guys to run second to put themselves in position to be in the Underwood Dash.
Not only that, normally on a normal USAC format, everything reverts back to your time. Your time kind of follows you out throughout the night. In this case tonight, it's straight up by your finish, so the more you gain early on, the better off you're going to be later in the night. Once we get through the Underwood Dash, of course, we'll have our Elliott's Custom Trailers Kart semi-feature event. The 360 feature will kick things off, and then we will end the night with our Western World Championship feature event. 35 laps, $35,000 win, $15,000 in lap money, and bragging rights. Of course, the championship decided. Kyle Cummins comes in. He's playing with house money, and he showed that last night, especially in the later portions of the race.
And let's not forget, too, Kyle Cummins has shown that in the last few races. We look back to just last weekend when we were out at Dodge City. Kyle Cummins playing with house money. His first race after clinching the title, Brian, he goes out there, didn't maybe have the dominant car of the race, but he was there when it counted, when KT got bottled up in lap traffic. He pounced, he got to the lead, and he was racing very aggressively in that. And last night, too, I talked to him about it on the podium side of things as well, kind of that balance he had to go through. Okay, do I try to get past CV? Do I just ride here in second and make sure I'm in the feature event and the Underwood Dash tomorrow, too? So as he has all year, Brian, he's made very smart, very calculated decisions. That's just the Kyle Cummins we know and expect to see every time we come to the racetrack. And house money is very important, especially when you're coming to the boss's house here. Of course, Jerry Petty of Avante Windows and Doors, one of the main proprietors in bringing back the Westerworld to the height that we knew it could be for so long, and we're so glad it's back to the way it is.
We saw the crowd last night, and they were almost sold out of T-shirts last night. I don't know if they have any left for this event. I know Jerry was thinking, wow, I should have ordered more. But the crowd we had last night, we see everybody coming in here tonight looking for a phenomenal show. And last night was a night of records. It was the first time for the USAC National Sprint Cars to be here at Central Arizona Raceway. We set our 1-lap track record, our 8-lap track record. Incidentally, the 8-lap track record, local boy getting it, Charles Davis Jr. holds the 8-lap track record here. So great to see him. I know the crowd went crazy whenever he was able to hold on to that heat race win.
And that's cool, too, because Charlie has raced here for so long, Brian, and has so many laps around this place. He's been here with the wall. He's been here without the wall. I know it's been a big topic of conversation for some of the Arizona drivers here that had a lot of laps going into the weekend here at Western World. But for him to have that cool little piece of history, I know that's something he's going to treasure for a long time. But, Brian, I said it after we talked to him in the heat race, but I'll say it again. He is one of the guys that lives and breathes the Western World. He's been here since the 90s racing in the Western World. And to see him not only be here, still driving, of course, but also just being competitive. He's got a track record now here at Central Arizona Raceway. Such a cool story for Charles Davis Jr.
Unfortunately, his main event did not go quite as well. He ended up getting collected there, but a great night nevertheless for the local driver. 1994 is how long he has been competing in the Western World. So he's been to all of them, to every racetrack, to every sanction. So an amazing amount of history. And if you get a chance after the race, if you're in the grandstands, go down and talk to Chargin' Charles. He's a great conversation, a great person. Always glad to see him at the racetrack. Looking into tonight, a lot of drama yesterday. Of course, going into the final weekend, a lot of money, a lot of prestige, a lot of bragging rights. And there were some feelings hurt last night, but everybody's reset and ready to go here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an understatement. Hopefully we'll get Justin Grant up here. Of course, he's taking care of some important duties back in the pit area, making sure that Top Motorsports NOS Energy Drink number 4 is ready to go. But we didn't really get to hear Justin's side of the story and those things last night, so hopefully we'll get an opportunity here in just a little bit to talk to Justin. But yes, Brian, there was a lot of hurt feelings over that last night. James Turnbull was the first one we saw with a lot of emotion, and that was such a bummer for James. I know how hard he works on that small family program, moved out to the Midwest after racing in this region of the country for a few years, and just hated to see that for him. And then Kevin Thomas Jr. getting together with Justin Grant in turn number 3. We had KT down there on the racetrack last night. He was fired up. He seemed to cool down after the 360 race. The win certainly helped too. So like I said, hopefully we get Justin here very, very soon to talk about some of the things that went on last night.
Yeah, and he brought up a nice little consolation prize, obviously wanting to win last night's 7,500 to win feature event, and he was one of the few that was making the bottom side of the track really work to his favor, and we saw that in the 360 feature event, especially late, very reminiscent of the line you see at the Chili Bowl where they were dancing that left front up on that inside berm, really able to pin the right rear and get good drive, especially in the closing laps when you had that myriad of cautions trying to hold off Dason Pursley.
And I think KT had one of the better cars doing that, and not only in the 410, but what really surprised me too is it worked extremely well in the 360. Obviously you're working with less power, and he was really able to make that line work. In my opinion, that's what got him the win in the 360. He got to the bottom first and just kind of rolled bottom right past everybody, but he was on the charge throughout the race until making that contact with Justin Grant, sending him upside down. We saw it last night. We heard it from him last night. He was very, very upset about that, but that's a guy I'm really watching today, Brian. Obviously a backup car. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit as the night goes on with Kevin Thomas Jr. and that Rocksteady Racing 3R team. But backup car is down. Backup car is ready. They fired in the hotel parking lot, as a matter of fact, earlier today. So curious to see how KTJ goes tonight. We know if the bottom's there, he'll be fun to watch.
You know, and that's where we see him run time in and time out. Even at times where we think the bottom's not really there, he still finds a way to make it work. Of course, Logan Seavey picked up the win last night, Ford to first, Kyle Cummins in second, CJ Leary in third, and Ricky Thornton Jr. proving yet again he can drive anything with wheels. Of course, this is where he came from. This is where he cut his teeth in the modifieds and the stock cars before going on into late models. Comes into this weekend 24 times a winner across multiple disciplines of cars. He was the final driver locked in. Ricky Lewis, what a run for him. Had to take a provisional, and I talked to him a little before the races, said he had really kind of written himself off and kind of did a reset, got back out there. 26th to 5th last night.
It was an incredible drive. Of course, Ricky Lewis still in the hunt for that Avante Windows and Doors USAC CRA Sprint Car title. They still have 3 races left on the season, including here tonight at Central Arizona Raceway. But from 26th to 5th, are you kidding me? That was a fun drive to watch, start to finish. And there was a point where he was past RTJ for that 4th spot to get into the feature event. Ultimately didn't work out, but still an impressive drive nonetheless.
It definitely was. As I'm going to go ahead and head up to the booth, we'll have Justin Grant coming on here in just a moment. With that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here to Central Arizona.
The Golden State invasion begins in Placerville. 2 nights of the Hangtown 100 await California's Placerville Speedway on November 14th and 15th. The one and only 100-lap race on the USAC NOS Energy Drink Midget National slate will be elbows up on the quarter mile as 2-time Hangtown champ Kyle Larson returns to take on 2022 winner Justin Grant and 2023 victor Buddy Kofoid and a whole host of challengers. Gates open at 4 p.m. Pacific with cars on track at 4:45. For tickets and more info, visit hangtown100.com. It's a mechanical, mental, and physical challenge unlike any other, and it's coming to Placerville, California on November 14th and 15th. There's 100 laps and 100 reasons to be there. Don't let your friends tell you what you missed.
Welcome back to Inside the Manzanita Pavilion here as we get ready to go for the second and final night of the Western World Championships here at Central Arizona Raceway. JG, Justin Grant joins us, and Justin, you were a part of many conversations post-race last night. We got a chance to talk to James Turnbull. We got a chance to talk to Kevin Thomas Jr., but we haven't got to hear your side of the story just yet. So let's break it down a little bit. I know Turnbull was very upset with you. What kind of happened in that heat race with you and the 2J?
I couldn't really tell you too much about what happened with 2J. He was behind me the whole time, started a row behind me, and was behind me all the way down the front stretch and ran into my rear bumper getting into one. So I don't know what he wanted me to do there, what he expected me to do there. I got caught up behind the zero there a little bit, and he didn't get a very good restart, and I was trying to get up to the top there into one, and he clobbered me in the rear bumper down into one and stuck himself in the fence and about stuck me in the fence with him.
The one that made the most rounds on social media was definitely between you and Kevin Thomas Jr. Things got awfully tight down into turn number 3. KT was very upset. Let's start off with the initial contact. What did you feel and see rather from your vantage point going into turn number 3, and do you think your move was fair?
Yeah, the only thing I saw was getting absolutely clobbered down into 3. I been running the top, trying to run Brady down and figure out how to make a move on him there, and noticed we weren't quite clearing the lappers as fast as we were in 3 and 4 on the bottom, and run off of for a whole lap, all the way down the front stretch, all the way through 1 and 2, all the way down the back stretch, no cars, nobody poking up inside me, and I cleared the lapper and peeled off to the bottom to try and make a run at trying track Brady down there and get down to the bottom, and Kevin got up over my left rear. I really, as mad as he was, I thought, well, I must have cleaned his right front off there, but it turned out I watched the video, and heck, there was 12 car lengths and 2 cars between us when I made my move to the bottom, so I'm not sure where he was watching the video. I don't know if he was going to keep it out of the fence himself if I wasn't there. He come in there about Mach 12, and it's a bummer the 3R boys stuff got tore up. I like those guys a lot, but I don't have rear view mirrors, and I can't tell you what the guy behind me is doing. Certainly not the guy 3 cars behind me. So, you can build a big run off of 2 if you want, but you got to have a plan when you get there. And I was merged into the bottom there and got clobbered. Didn't clean his right front off. Didn't, funny enough, then I watched the 360 race, and heck, he was running the exact same line that I did. The same line he was yelling at me for running there. I watched him win the 360 race, doing it, run down the backstretch and coaster down into the bottom of 3, and what are you going to do, right? I can only drive my race car. I can't drive theirs. And, you get run in the back of twice and get absolutely butchered for it. And so I don't, neither one of those cars it wasn't like they were in front of me. I got them cleared and parked in front of them. They were started behind me, stayed behind me, were behind me the whole time, and ran into the back of my race car both times. So I don't know what, they're mad I changed lanes, but that's why they put my name on the visors, figure out how to make that 4 car go fast. And sometimes it's up top, sometimes it's down low, and you got to go where you need to be.
KT obviously came over to your car after the fact. Very, very upset, I think, is an understatement. You talked about not knowing he was there. Was his reaction a bit of a surprise to you?
Yeah, not knowing KT really, but, it wasn't that I didn't know he was there. He wasn't there. He wasn't there till he was 10 car lengths behind me down the backstretch. So, no, not really. He was all fired up. But, again, what are you going to do? I don't feel like I did anything wrong there, and he can be mad if he wants, but it doesn't change what I was doing.
A lot going on last night that we just discussed. People will say what they want, whether around the pit, social media, whatnot. How do you kind of drown out that noise and just focus on your race car here going after $35,000 tonight?
Yeah, well, before we move on, I will say the only guy that I felt like had a right to be mad at me was the only one that didn't make a big scene. It was Kyle Shipley. I went down and talked to him today, apologized to him. I got into the grease, getting in on that restart, and slid up into him, and I told him, it's no excuse. I've made a mistake, and I know better than to get down there in the grease like that. But I come bombing across and hit him, and we had a good talk today. And so apologize to him, but Kyle was good about it, and he actually had a right to be mad. I messed up there, but the other two I didn't feel like were anything of my doing. As far as putting that behind you, showing up to race today, Les, I'm easy to hate. I get it. I've been hated a lot longer than this weekend, so it doesn't get under my skin too much. The people that I care about, they like me, and that's pretty much all I care about. And I go home, my wife and kids, I love them very much, and they love me very much, and I'm here to make a living, and as long as the people that I love I've got their opinions, and then that's all I'm after.
Well, we know it's a very busy night, a very important night for your season, trying to round out the season with a $35,000 payday. We won't keep you too much longer, but thanks for coming on. Thanks for telling your side of the story in a very professional manner, and good luck tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me on.
That's Justin Grant. He'll be racing for $35,000 here in the finale of the Western World. Don't go anywhere. We got more coverage from inside the Bands of Media Pavilion next on FloRacing.
Feels like the first time. On Wednesday, November 19th, the USAC NOS Energy Drink Midget National Championship hits Visalia, California's Plaza Park Raceway. Round 2 of the Golden State Invasion hits the Central Valley 1/5 mile dirt oval for the first time ever. For event info, tickets, and more, visit plazaparkraceway.com and the Ticket Hoss app. Who's going to park it in USAC's debut at Plaza Park on November 19th? Strap in and find out. It's time to play in the park.
Welcome back to Inside the Manzanita Pavilion here at the finale of the Western World Championships here at Central Arizona Raceway. We're here with one of the guys, if not the guy, that's really making it all happen this weekend. Brad Woodfield, of course, promoter here at Central Arizona Raceway, taking some time to join us here on our FloRacing pre-race show, And Brad, a lot going on this week, but first off, let's start out with the crowd. Practice night was probably the most people I've ever seen at a practice. Last night, the place was filled to the gills. We've got a lot more people in here than we did yesterday already, and we have yet to see a race car on racetrack yet. How special is this for you to kind of just see it all come together and all the people show up and support?
I tell you, Drake, it's very humbling. I'll tell you. We talked about doing this deal back here at Central Arizona Raceway last year after it was at Mojave with the Great Meyer family, and they did an awesome job. It just makes sense to bring it back to Central, because of the crowds in Phoenix and Tucson and the surrounding areas that, we're very populated. But, Jerry Petty and Vonnie Windows and Doors has been very instrumental in helping me build this facility into what it is today.
And you talk about Jerry, and yes, he is a big part of what happens here, as you are as well. Talk about getting linked up with Jerry. How did that come about?
It was kind of crazy. 2022, I got this phone call from Jack Yaley. And he goes, hey, this guy wants to talk to you. And Jerry got on the phone. He goes, hey, the Western World, I want to throw XYZ dollars and help you, make this deal successful. And between Jerry and Chapman Chevrolet, some of our partners still today, the Western World was great at Kokopah, both 2022 and 2023. We started working on Central Arizona Raceway and building it to what it is today. Started a year ago, September 15th to be exact. Jerry came to me and he says, hey, what can I do to help you make sprint car racing great again in Arizona? And, it went from a little racetrack that fairground racetrack, and today it's become a racing destination, from the IMCA classes to the late, the Wild West Shootout coming back, and then the great USAC sanctioning body that has been, you guys have all, and everybody at Flo has really pushed us to raise the bar to make the Western World great again. And it's taken a village, I mean, from you guys and all the drivers supporting it and all the sponsors supporting it and the great fans that are out here supporting it. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. You know, without you, we're nothing, you know, and Drake, you know, there's so many aspects of entertainment, you know, and we have to make these big events almost a spectacle, you know, to get people to choose to spend their entertainment dollars with us.
You talked about making it a spectacle. I'll ask you something I asked Jerry Petty yesterday. Fans enjoy going to a race. We can all agree on that. But what fans seem to really enjoy these days is an event or a spectacle, like you were saying. So you got the Western World. You got the improvements that you were looking for here at Central Arizona Raceway. Take us through the process of saying, okay, we're going to put a race on, but we're going to make it an event as well.
You know, I'm very blessed that this racetrack has done so well. And all the great people that support it. I've been able to go to other big events. You know, I got to go to the Gold Cup. I went to the BC 39, and an open-minded promoter, in my opinion, if you'll go to another racetrack and learn what you could do to make your events in your facility better, and bring it home and put it in motion and execute it. And I have the greatest team, as far as I'm concerned, on the West Coast to execute and put on an event like this. And it's not just a race. You know, Keith Hall, 58 years ago, took a chance. I think the purse was $10,000, the entire purse for the first Western World. And today it's, you have the exact numbers? It's big.
It's big. We know it's $35,000 to win.
Yeah, $35,000 to win tonight, lap money. I mean, a guy could potentially walk out of here, you know, fast time money. I believe it's $55,000. Purse this weekend's over $115,000. So it takes a village. We have to go to other places. We have to learn what people want and how they react to it. I mean, we have things for you guys to do. There's vendors out here. There's a band playing during the downtime. The Stoats track prep session. You know, there's always something to do, and that's what people want to do. They're not sitting there looking at their watch waiting for us to get back on track. They're out doing something, and then they hear cars and they run back to their seats. So it's working, and it's what we need to continue to do. And you know, the 59th annual, we'll raise the bar a little bit more, and we'll rise to the challenge.
You talked about Keith Hall, such a monumental figure, really, when it comes to sprint car racing in general, but especially here in the state of Arizona. He had a lot of great things going on at Manzanita, and, you know, you ask the older fans, though, you know, it lost this, it lost that. But you guys have seemingly taken all the great ideas from everywhere, as you have said, and brought it to Central Arizona Raceway. Do you feel like, in a way, you've revived the spirit of Manzanita with bringing this race back to the heyday, if you will?
Drake, I absolutely do, and you can feel the energy. You can feel it in this pavilion right now. You can feel it out there. There's a lot of cool shots of Keith Hall's famous Manzanita Speedway. It's almost you can't even explain it. Almost the feeling and the goosebumps that you get. I mean, it's really. And I feel like that we've done a great job, and Keith Hall would have been proud. I know his family's here, and they're super excited about it, and it's been ongoing, you know, just support from them on, you know, doing some Manzanita shirts. And they were gracious to let us use the Manzanita Speedway name for this pavilion. So as we continue to go, there's a lot more people reaching out to us that they have some memorabilia that they would like to hang up in this pavilion. So we're excited about it, and we're just going to hope like heck we have a great race like we did last night.
Going back to the spectacle side of it, you and I did a great interview on FloRacing yesterday about Sirloin, who I'm very excited to see out there on the racetrack. Hopefully he cooperates too. But how do you kind of tie stuff like that in too? Because you and I, like I said, had a great conversation yesterday about the animals have always been a part of the Western world. Was that a very important part to bring back as well, the Western world?
It was, and Sirloin himself is not cooperating today, so we're struggling. He may make an appearance, and he may not. He got a little worked up down there this afternoon. Too many people trying to get him corralled up, but we'll still try here in just a little bit. I think the Western heritage of this deal, you know, the cowboy hats, the driver intros tonight's going to be off the chart, and the fans are going to get to be a part of that. They'll actually get to go down to the first catch fence and be up close and personal to those drivers as they come off the stagecoach headed to their machines to do battle.
We talked about the amount of people here. I mean, the place, to kind of steal a line from Chet Krishner, is filled to the gills. I mean, there is people everywhere here, and you talked about the vibe. You talked about the energy. I'm going to ask you a bit of a silly question here, but I assume this is what you were going for right here, this special feeling that we're getting right now, just waiting for cars to get on the racetrack.
It is, and you can, I mean, you know, you talking about it, it sends, you know, kind of a chill down me, and it raises the goosebumps, and you almost just don't have words to describe that feeling. But I'm very proud of what we have built. I'm very proud of all the fans that have come out and supported us. They're going to continue to support us. I fully expect that we will probably be sold out and at capacity in the next 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll start sending people through the pits.
We talk about the great Arizona racing fan base. They've always been this way. They'll always show up. They'll always show out, no matter how big, how small a race is. But how special is it to bring people in? I know there's people here from Pennsylvania and other states that are nowhere near the great state of Arizona. And you talked about making this a destination race. Do you feel like you've already started to accomplish that with people coming way out of their way to come see the Western World here at Central Arizona?
I absolutely do. I actually had a guy chase me down just a little bit ago. I don't see him in here right now, but he bought his tickets when they went on sale, and he flew in from Paris, France.
Wow.
That's pretty freaking cool.
That's probably the longest tow award winner.
I would say it absolutely is, and kudos to him. I got him and Brian hooked up, so we're going to get an interview with him because I want to know what about the Western World that made him fly 36 hours across the world to come to our racetrack and see our show.
That's amazing to hear. Well, Brad, if no one else tells you today, thank you so much. We're so excited to be here. We're so excited to be at such an amazing facility and much less have an amazing race on top of it. We're excited to see how it turns out. I know you're going to be busy all night, but thank you, my friend. You're doing a great job out here.
Thank you, Drake. Thanks, Flo. Thank you, USAC. Thank you, fans, all the sponsors, the drivers, the crews, everybody out there. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a great time, and we're going to do it again in a year.
Once again, that's Brad Whitfield, promoter here at Central Arizona Raceway, as we are getting so close to getting things started here in the second and final night of the 2025 Western World Championships here at Central Arizona Raceway.
Thank you very much. As they wrap up track prep here a little bit, just a little bit more moisture being laid down onto the racing surface. Wanting to make sure the track is in prime condition and will last the night to put on a show for the fans here this evening. If you haven't done so, make sure you swing down into Souvenir Row. Of course, the USAC merchandise trailer is down there with all the fresh lineup of 2025 race day must-have gear. Everything from license plates to hoodies, sweatshirts, hats, T-shirts, and more. You can find it all down at the USAC merchandise trailer. You can also shop online 24/7 at usacgear.com. A reminder, if you are shopping online, as the trailer is headed out to the West Coast, your shipments may be just a little bit delayed in getting out to the mail, but nevertheless, they will be shipped to you. Of course, not only do you have the USAC merchandise trailer down there, you have a lot of teams as well who have brought their merchandise trailers and vans up here to the Central Arizona Raceway. Make sure and swing by. Of course, after the races, we'll open to the pit area and go down and meet the drivers, and several of those teams also with merchandise available down in the pit area. Why choose AMSO lubricants? Well, 3 reasons: power, performance, and protection. They design specialized lubricants engineered for what you drive and how you drive. Visit AMSOIL.com to learn more. Another reason to stop by the USAC merchandise trailer: you can sign up to beat tonight's AMSOIL Inside the Oval winner. If your name is picked, you and a guest of your choice receive a prize pack and a ride in the pace truck, and the opportunity of a lifetime to watch tonight's USAC Sprint Car feature event from the infield. Also down there in Merchandise Row, you can get a complimentary can of NOS Energy, where boundaries are merely suggestions. Fuel up, fire up, and never look back with NOS Energy. It's human horsepower. Try one today and follow them on social media at NOS Energy Drink. Throughout the 2025 season, remember, you can be part of the action with a chance to win with Play USAC, offering you, the fans, ways to put money in your favorite drivers with top sports books and daily fantasy providers offering odds and exclusive sign-up offers for USAC racing fans. There's never been a better time to give it a try. Go to nxtbets.com/PlayUSAC for more information, or if you're on the broadcast, you can scan the code to see what's available in your state. Void where prohibited. Must be 21 years or older to participate. Play responsibly. Fight back against addiction at 1-800-GAMBLER. Odds provided to the United States Auto Club by NXTBets.com. They have Dason Pursley up at the top at plus 152. Brady Bacon at a 239. A little further down the list, last night's winner sitting at a plus 561. Justin Grant at a 740. Kevin Thomas Jr. at a 1272. A little more of a long shot odd with Jake Swanson at 6749. But remember, when our drivers win, you win when you play along at nxtbets.com/playusac. Cookout presents always fresh, never frozen burgers, barbecue, hot dogs, all cooked fresh every day. And get this, over 40 different flavors of shakes, all prepared fresh and made by hand every day. It's all yours to find a Cookout location near you. Go to cookout.com. Sunoco is the official race fuel of USAC Racing. As the world's largest manufacturer of racing fuel, Sunoco has been the standard in motorsports for over 50 years. Known for innovation, consistency, and high performance, Sunoco Fuels has been the choice of racers in virtually every form of motorsport, from grassroots tracks to premier international series. Committed to supporting the racing community, Sunoco powers champions and fuels unforgettable moments at the track. The Western World isn't the only big event making its way to Central Arizona Raceway, making its return, in fact, back to where it all started. We're talking about the Wild West Shootout. It is the biggest late model race in the western United States, and they are offering up $520 to the driver that advances the most positions throughout the weekend in USAC national competition. The Wild West Shootout Stampede, as Mr. Chris Kearns has dubbed it. Single-day reserve seats went on sale this past Friday. If you buy all 6 days, you even get better pricing on that. WildWestShootout.net, or find them on Facebook. 6 nights of racing, January 10th through the 18th. Expect around 50 to 60 late models in action. Of course, Ricky Thornton Jr., Bobby Pierce, Hudson O'Neill, Brandon Shepard, Garrett Albertson, the Reaper, Ryan Gustin. Modifieds also in action. You'll have Cade Dillard, Rodney Sanders, Matt Crafton, and more. So make sure and make plans to attend the Wild West Shootout right here at Central Arizona Raceway. Again, happening during the month of January. Car IQ has created a payment solution aimed at fleets that allows cars and trucks to connect to gas pumps to pay for fuel without the need of a fuel card or a credit card. Car IQ Payment Solutions, Car IQ Pay, replaces fleet card products and protects against fraud while significantly reducing back office vehicle reconciliation. Learn more at gocariq.com today. Honest Abe Roofing, America's reliable roofer, wants to make sure to give you the perfect roof and to protect your home and keep you comfortable. Honest Abe provides the fastest service in the roofing industry, and normally they're supported the fastest driver in qualifications. Qualifying not on the docket here tonight, but you still want to make sure and visit honestaberoofing.com to schedule your free roof inspection. There's still time to set your lineup with Dirt Draft. Download the Dirt Draft app today. Set up your league and play against your friends, family, your neighbors, or even the fans sitting around you. Use referral code USAC when signing up to get a $20 digital gift card to shop at usacgear.com. Indy Metal Finishing is the official sponsor of the USAC work area. Indy Metal Finishing is a family-owned and operated business with 30 years of experience in the industry. Their mission is to support their customers with an exceptional level of quality and service. Conveniently located minutes from downtown Indianapolis, Indy Metal Finishing offers Type 2 and Type 3 anodizing chemical conversions, passivation, and electroless nickel services to motorsports, medical, military, aerospace, and manufacturing industries. Indy Metal Finishing is ISO certified and they hold an FFL license. Visit them online at indymetalfinishing.com for more. Whether you're running a go-kart, a micro, a midget, a modified sprint car, late model, Silver Crown, or even the tractor, Rod Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performing to your maximum potential. Remember, they don't just sell them, they race them. Go to rodsupply.com for more information. K1 Race Gear, born in 2003 with the philosophy of offering safety products to customers that they would be proud to use. Whether your son or daughter is just starting out in the sport or you have a lifelong passion for racing, they have the products for you. Contact K1 Race Gear at k1racegear.com. Speaking of staying safe, the official fire prevention solution of USAC Racing is Inferno Armor. Created for the motorsports industry, but now used in many other applications, Inferno Armor quickly and easily makes fabrics fire retardant and heat resistant. Simply put, it's high-performance fire protection and a convenient spray. Inferno Armor presenting the fire move of the night in all 3 USAC national divisions throughout the 2025 season, where they award the driver that puts on a fire of a show a complimentary bottle of Inferno Armor. All the ways to follow along this weekend. Of course, you can find us online at usacracing.com, on Facebook by searching for USAC Racing, and on X and Instagram at USAC Nation. Live timing and scoring for the USAC portion of the program is on Race Monitor. For the San Chevrolet Wild West 360 Sprint Cars, it will be on My Race Pass. A reminder, live timing and scoring via either app as well as social media is unofficial. All official news, notes, points, and updates posted at the close of tonight's program at usacracing.com. Special thanks to this year's event sponsors, Buffalo Wild Wings, Jugo Superfoods, AME Electrical, Apache Transport, Avante Windows and Doors, and Busch Light, all helping to bring you the 58th running of the Western World Championships. Again, $35,000 to win, $15,000 extra in lap money up for grabs here tonight. $3,000 win for your Sand Chevrolet Wild West 360 Sprint Cars. It was $2,000 last night. And Kevin Thomas Jr. picking up the win here one night ago. Of course, racing not done for the United States Auto Club. Once we wrap up this weekend, we'll have a few days off, and then it is the Golden State Invasion, the USAC NOS Energy Drink Midget National Championship. Back on the card to wrap up their 2025 season. We will kick things off with the Hangtown 100 at Placerville Speedway, November 14th and 15th. The event co-promoted by Kyle Larson. He'll also be in action for that event. Plaza Park Raceway, the first time the USAC NOS Energy Drink Midget National Championship will grace the park at Visalia, California. That'll be on November 19th. Back to Thunder Bowl in Tulare on November 21st. Merced for the Chase Johnson Classic. That'll be on November 22nd. The Jason Leffler Memorial, Bakersfield Speedway at Kern County. That'll be on November 25th. And, of course, it's Turkey Night, Ventura Raceway, Ventura, California. We're going to go battle on the beach on November 29th. If you can't be there live, you can see it all right here on FloRacing. FloRacing, a part of the Flow Sports Network, it's more than just racing. Are you into basketball? They've got it. Baseball? Yep. Curling? You got it. Wrestling? Oh, it's definitely there. Even marching band can be found with the Flow Sports Network. All the advantages of signing up is it's all under the same subscription package. So not only can you catch the United States Auto Club, you can catch the Kubota High Limit Series, Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, and the biggest indoor events in auto racing, including the Chili Bowl Nationals, powered by NOS Energy, January 12th to the 17th. Monday and Tuesday reserve seat tickets are on sale by calling 918-838-3777. Single seats for the entire event still remain. But, of course, if you can't be there live, you can see it all flag to flag on FloRacing. Leading up to that, though, the Mecca of Micros, December 30th through January 3rd. Over 1,500 entries expected for the Hyper Racing Tulsa Shootout, powered by NOS Energy. We'll kick things off with practice on the 29th, racing from the 30th of December all the way through January 3rd. For more information on that event, go to tulsashootout.com. Tickets also on sale online. So Jason Cruz still focusing a little bit on the bottom side, but also more kind of focusing on that inside berm. And we saw later in the night, kind of Chili Bowl style, where they were kind of dancing that left front on that inside berm, really trying to pin the right rear and get around the corner. Kevin Thomas using that to perfection to fend off the charge of Dason Pursley, who had some pretty good runs from the middle to the top, just wasn't able to carry that momentum around and get a run on KTJ.
Yeah, it was really crazy last night in the 360 portion because at one point, with about 7 laps to go, thought the top was actually gone. I was like, oh, man, top shot. We saw Stevie Sussex up there riding around. And it's like, yeah, I don't think he has anything. And then we have a red flag, yellow conditions, 10 minutes overweight. Stevie Sussex back to the lip, and he sailed that thing, was able to come out with the top, with the podium finish, 20 to 3rd last night for Stevie Sussex. Hard charger last night for him, and heck of a thing to hang your hat on. That the little engine that could there with Eugene Thomas's car.
Did a really good job. Now, it is a completely new show tonight for the San Chevrolet Wild West 360 Sprint Cars. And, again, top 20 in passing points going on to the feature event is the same passing point scale that's utilized at the Chili Bowl, the Tulsa Shootout, and ASCS regional competition. That's what they're going off of if you want to try to find that and follow along. Everybody else going into the B main, top 4 to that one. So, with over 40 cars on hand, it's a tough show to make.
Yeah, definitely a tough show to make. You saw some of those guys that were racing up through the B main last night, and it was like, man, these guys are regulars when it comes to racing out here in Arizona, and just had a hard time because, you got guys like Dason Pursley, they're in the field, R.J. Johnson, J.J. Yaley, also driving a 360 along Briggs Danner, who, had a good bounce back last night, leading the majority of the race, got caught up with a lap car there middle of the race and fought back to just outside your top 5, finished 7th last night. And same with J.J. Yaley, who got basically in the race by virtue of a red flag on the opening lap, had some fuel pump issues. Team thrashed on that during the opening red flag as they'll get his car back out and under song. So a lot of comers, a lot of goers last night.
Look at the rundown from your 360 feature event last night. Again, Kevin Thomas Jr. with the win, Dason Pursley in second, Stevie Sussex the third in third. R.J. Johnson, a tale of 2 events. On the 410 side of thing, if it was a brake issue, he had it last night. A better run in the 360 side goes 10th to 4th. Chaz Baca in that Buffalo Wild Wings number 57 crosses in 5th. J.J. Yaley in 6th. Briggs Danner fights back to 7th. A.J. Hernandez in 8th. Dayton Shelton in 9th. David Gasper rounded out your top 10. Bruce St. James, Radio Flyer, crossing in 11th. Brody Wake was 12th. Jonas Reynolds in 13th. Josh Pelkey in 14th. And Ronald Webster in 15th. Behind that, it was Blake Hendricks in 16th. Dalen Pereira in 17th. Connor Lundy in 18th. Joshua Shipley in 19th. Brady Bacon, who had been up there in the hunt for the race win. Unfortunately, the drivetrain giving out on the number 51. As he said, the engine was running, but there was no juice behind it. Wayne Siddle, Grant Sexton, Caleb Stelzick, and Troy DeGatton ended up rounding out the field on the 360 side.
Yeah, I talked to Josh Pelkey last night. 14th place run. That is your current points leader for the Wild West Sprint Car Series. And asked him, man, what happened? You guys must have set up because you guys looked really good in the heat race. He said, man, I literally felt like my right rear was blistering. He said, I had no right rear that I was leaning on. And then he said, I was the first one back to the pits. I got out of the car. I just kicked myself because the right rear was there. Just something was amiss with that race car. So he told Robbie Allen, he's like, hey, I don't care how you set it up tonight. Give me a right rear. If that thing goes 2 feet in the air, I'm cool with it, man. I'm going to be on the gas.
Looking at the rundown from last night's event with the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. Again, Logan Seavey picked up the win. Kyle Cummins in second. C.J. Leary in third. Ricky Thornton Jr. in fourth. Those four drivers can breathe easy. They are awaiting the Underwood Dash. Ricky Lewis in fifth. Brady Bacon in sixth. Justin Grant in second. Mitchell Moles, Jake Swanson, and Ryan Burnell ended up rounding at the top 10. Briggs Danner, then Stevie Sussex, Chase Stock, and Gunnar Setzer, Trey Osborne. Braden Shitamonte in 16th. Ty Mahako in 17th. Max Adams in 18th. Hayden Reinbold and R.J. Johnson. Again, it started off where they sheared the brakes off. Then they found out the pedal was bent, tweaked, and turned where he wasn't able to actually use the pedal correctly. You saw the front end come apart where a bolt that rarely actually ever fails, unfortunately failed for him. Luckily, did not tear the front end out of it. That also took the brakes out again. He ended up salvaging a 20th place finish, said, if anybody was stopped in front of me, your fate was in your hands. So luckily was able to salvage that one. Charles Davis Jr. in 21st, J.J. Yaley, Eddie Tafoya Jr., Kobe Simpson, Kevin Thomas Jr., Dayson Pursley, and Connor Lundy ended up rounding out last night's feature event in USAC National Competition.
Yeah, Arizona guys got kind of beat up last night. Talked to Charles Davis Jr. He's like, I think it's the yellow car these cars are just so attracted to. He's like, I was like a pinball out there. Of course, he was involved in the spin that actually saw J.J. Yaley spin in turn number 4 after hitting the curb, and Charles nowhere to go, made contact with him, but he was back there working on the car earlier, a little midday maintenance session after a little late night maintenance session last night for a lot of these guys.
So crew's taking one last look at the racetrack. I believe Drake York has made his way down into the infield.
Indeed, I have, Brian, and I'm here to tell you, first off, we walked from the Manzanita Pavilion where we had our FloRacing pre-race show earlier in the day, actually not too long ago, and walking through the grandstand area to just get to the racetrack, there were people absolutely everywhere. You talked about the T-shirts, that there may not be enough left at the T-shirt trailer right now. If you're here at the racetrack, you better go get one now because the line is out the door and around the corner, and there's just something special you feel here at Central Arizona Raceway as we get ready to go for the second and final night of the Western World Championship. Let's take a look at a few things we'll be watching throughout the evening here, starting with our season-long Amsoil USAC National Sprint Car Championship points headed into tonight's finale for 2025. Kyle Cummins currently leads the way. As a matter of fact, I should say currently because he will lead the way all the way to the end. Of course, locked up the title just a few weeks back at Lawrenceburg Speedway during the Fall Nationals. He currently leads the points by what would be at the moment a record-breaking widest margin victory for Kyle Cummins. He currently has 3,298 points. Mitchell Moles in second, CV third, Kevin Thomas Jr. fourth, Justin Grant rounding out your top 5. Briggs Danner, C.J. Leary, Jake Swanson, Chase Stockton, and Gunnar Setzer still your leading rookie rounding out the top 10. He comes in the night just 31 points ahead of Hayden Reinbold for the Rookie of the Year title. Over to our Avante Windows and Doors USAC CRA Sprint Car Series. R.J. Johnson still leads the way with 1,316 points, but Ricky Lewis with a strong run last night has closed in the gap to just 75 points. Mind you, that is a 35-point swing headed into the final 3 races of the season for the USAC CRA Sprint Car Series. Austin Williams continues to lay back in the weeds in the 3rd spot. A.J. Bender 4th, and Tommy Thunder Malcolm rounding out your top 5. Charles Davis Jr. with a good enough run last night to move up into 6th in season-long standings, while Blake Bauer falls to 7th. David Gasper 8th, Connor Lundy 9th, and Brody Roa rounds out your top 10. Well, last night, a few times, we got to hear Kevin Thomas Jr.'s perspective of what happened in turn number 3. And just a few moments ago here on the FloRacing broadcast, we got to hear Justin Grant's perspective on it. So make sure you watch those two things here just in a little bit on FloRacing. Some fantastic insight from Justin Grant in the Manzanita Pavilion earlier today. We got to hear from Kevin Thomas Jr. after he won the 360 race, also in the Manzanita Pavilion after his 360 win last night. No matter how you slice it, though, whether you think the 3R is at fault or the 4 is at fault, one thing is for certain, that 3R that Kevin Thomas Jr. drives for Rocksteady Racing absolutely tore up from the floor up, as Chet Krishner would say. That car is severely damaged, so I'm sure a lot of you aren't surprised to hear that is a backup car for Kevin Thomas Jr. tonight. The team worked till about 2 in the morning last night to get that car race ready. Finished things up earlier today. As a matter of fact, they fired that car in their hotel parking lot in Casa Grande, Arizona, to make sure it was ready to go. And I talked to Hank Byram, owner of Rocksteady Racing, for Kevin Thomas Jr., and he said, well, funny enough, this car was brand new at the start of the year. We haven't had to use it yet, but we have used it one time. It was at the dirt track at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that kicked off NOS Energy Drink Indiana Sprint Week, presented by Honest Abe Roofing. And if you don't know anything about the dirt track at IMS, it is nothing like Central Arizona Raceway, which we'll have here tonight. That track, really small, really tight, really tiny. This place, big, wide, sweeping corners, a lot of speed being carried by these non-wing 410 sprint cars, so that'll be interesting to see how Kevin Thomas Jr. and Rocksteady Racing navigate that challenge tonight. Kevin also gave us some fantastic insight last night on the post-race show about kind of what goes into getting a backup car ready, and sometimes, even though these race cars are built exactly the same, sometimes one race car is just different than another. That's just sometimes the way race cars work out. So it's going to be interesting to see how Kevin Thomas Jr. and the 3R gang adapt to this new challenge. He was one of the better cars last night, especially on the bottom side of the speedway, as you heard Brian and I talk about in our pre-race show. It's going to be interesting tonight, and Kevin Thomas Jr. being in a backup car that's only been ran once in its entire existence just adds another layer to it. Brian, as finally it looks like we're getting ready to get on track here at Central Arizona Raceway, and just once again, holy Toledo, what an event. Brad Whitfield, Jerry Petty doing wondrous work down here in the desert.
Definitely so. Thank you very much. And looking off into the distance, they've got the pickup truck and the wagon that they're going to be bringing the drivers up for introductions into the feature event a little bit later on. One of the neat traditions that we've seen throughout the years. Of course, they'll all be donning the cowboy hats and getting ready to go here tonight. As the tiller making a quick pass around the bottom side of the speedway, cars lined up in the staging lanes, and I think just like yesterday, it was about 10 at a time. We brought them out and let them get a few laps. Of course, they'll have the task of also kind of ironing things in here.
Yeah, I got to have the 360s tonight start things off. They'll be first all night this evening, so they'll be the ones tasked with working in the surface here at Central Arizona Raceway. And, go back to Drake talking about KTJ and Justin Grant. It works out every time. Justin Grant was actually, his 410 is parked right next to the 360 team, the Bono Motorsports team. So I heard, it was pretty fun last night over there in that area as KTJ won the 360 portion of night number 1 last night. As cars are lined up, and it looks like all the tractors are off the race. Oh, no, we got one left coming off right now, and I believe we will get ready to push the San Chevrolet Wawa Sprint Car Series. It looks like he's going to stay on and do another pass. So San Chevrolet Wawa Sprint Car Series would like to thank the following sponsors: North End Diesel Repair, Sunoco Race Fuels, Paint by Steve, and the Race Shack, and of course Sands Chevrolet. So getting the 2-minute call. Once again, I want to thank all your race fans for showing up tonight. Like Drake was mentioning, the T-shirt booth, it is lined out the door. Programs are still for sale, I do believe, for the 58th running of the Western World Championships. Also get your Western World shirts, hats down there. Also got Tracy Hall down there in a booth. She is auctioning off a shirt this weekend. $10 raffle ticket, get you a shirt, a Manzanita Speedway pit shirt that is signed by all the drivers that are here this weekend that actually raced at Manzanita Speedway. So we'll auction that off a little bit later on. Make sure you stop by and see Tracy. Of course, that is the daughter of the late, great Keith Hall, promoter of Manzanita Speedway, who started this great event 58 years ago. So 40 cars here tonight for the Sand Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Car Series. It looks like we lost a couple, but we did gain 2 more. Nathan High and Justin Kearse have joined us this evening. Connor Lundy last night flipped during the main event, so he will not be participating this evening on the 360 side. Will be on the 410 side. And a broken rear end with an early exit last night in that USAC main event. There'll be 40 cars, 4 heat races, like Brian mentioned. Top 20 in passing points from the heat races will advance to tonight's A main. They'll have a 12-lap B main, taking the top 4 drivers out of that and putting them into our main event this evening, which will be a 25-lap feature.
All right, let's go up, guys. We're going to start pushing right now. Let's go ahead and start pushing. 10 cars, 10 cars.
So the first 10 cars starting to make their way out to the racing surface here at Central Arizona Raceway.
All right, guys, we got to roll out the bottom end where they tilt it.
And the first car out is going to be the LRE Equipment Services Schaefer's Oil 1L Racing Engine 7.0 out of Safford, Arizona. That is Brian Ledbetter Jr. And right behind him is last night's main event winner in the Bono Motorsports, number 15 out of Coleman, Alabama, KTJ Kevin Thomas Jr. Last night's main event winner in the 15. Of course, that is, homegrown team. Chris and Kevin been friends for a long time, and Chris decided, hey, you know what? I want somebody else in my car this weekend. Nobody better than Kevin Thomas Jr.
Yeah, go ahead and close it. Go ahead and close it.
So Racing Silva out on the racetrack in that yellow 5S, and the Silva Racing driver out of Henderson, Nevada. Had a rough go of it last night. Got fed a right rear by Josh Pelkey in the heat race, then did not fare too well in this B main either. Dude Racing Silva, but he is back with us tonight, so we appreciate that. So making his way down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Levante Windows and Doors, Pristine Auction, Dawson Energy Drink, CB Industries, number 86 out of Locust Grove, Oklahoma. That is Dason Pursley. Pursley in the 86. Coming on the racetrack, a guy who had a great run last night before having issues in the main event in the Martin Auto Museum, BG Products, Pecan Builders, number 51 out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. It's the Macho Man, Brady Bacon. First driving the Ricky Johnson-owned number 51. Passing the stripe now in the number 25W. That's the Desert Winds Automotive Duck Racing sponsored machine out of Chandler, Arizona. That's Michael Waddle. You got the 51W of Ronald Webster. The Desert Winds Automotive. Black and orange car heading into turn number 1. Also out on the racetrack behind Kevin Thomas Jr. going into turn number 1 in the Southwest Building Solutions. The Race Shack, Paint by Steve, SMT Wheels, JP Ponton Racing. 21P out of Hilo, Hawaii. That is the Hilo Warrior, the Pineapple, Dalen Pereira. Yeah, purple and yellow car down the back straightaway heading into turn number 3. That is the number 82 of a or 87 of BJ Fernandez. Then we're going to see construction, the Racetrack Mike Waddle Engines, number 87, out of Milani, Hawaii, is BJ Hernandez. So got 3 drivers out of Hawaii on the racetrack right now with Racing Silva, Fernandez, and Pereira. Go off of turn number 4 past the stripe. He's driving the Speed Sports Futura Trailers, Advanced Machine Works 2X out of Surprise, Arizona. That's the Prez, Josh Shipley. Shipley, last night in the main event, there's a red flag earlier on. He actually had a right rear flat, ran over the nose of a car that flipped. Had to come in and to the hot pit, but was lucky enough there was a red flag and was able to get back on the track. So once again, separating 10 cars, not by heats, just random 10 that they're pushing back from the pits. Gonna have them work in the racetrack, then go into their hot lap session. And for your fans in attendance, I want to remind you we are expected a packed house here tonight. So if you are in the general admission seating areas, get to know your neighbor. It's going to be tight. But be calm, be courteous. If you make some men mad, go buy them a Busch Light. And drivers being told to spread it out. We will go green this next time by on the 86 of Dason Pursley, coming off of turn at number 2 right now. So first hot lap session underway for night number 2 of the 58th Annual Western World Championships. So track's still a little slimy out there. Dason Pursley right now with a 19.305 on his opening lap. 19.305 for him. Brady Bacon second quick so far, 19.645. As they worked in the racing service here at Central Arizona Raceway. Dason did bring it down, 18.11 that last lap, 18.111 with Brady Bacon, 18.214. BJ Fernandez, 18.964 in the 87. So yeah, starting to hear these cars starting to stand on the loud pedal. So go by the front stretch here at Central Arizona Raceway. Well, checkers are out. Mud scrapers have some work to do in the pits, but your first hot lap session is in the books with Dason Pursley, 18.111, top of the charts with Brady Bacon at 18.214. BJ Fernandez, third quick with 18.964, and then it's Racing Silva, 19.131. Dalen Pereira rounds out your top five with a 20.731. And again, still a little slimy out there, but the track will get worked in. We'll start seeing those times drop down low. I believe last night during hot laps, 16 seconds was the number.
Okay, let's go. Let's go ahead and push.
I believe you see him walking on there by the fence near the grandstands. That's your 2025 IMCA Sport Mod Champion, Braden Whitfield. Wave to the crowd, Braden. As we have another IMCA champion in the house. Actually, you're racing this evening. Right now running second in points after last night, I do believe. That is Chaz Baca Jr. He'll be out a little bit later on as number 57, Buffalo Wild Wings of North Dakota. Steve Stonecipher entry. Second group making their way onto the racetrack, going into turn at number 3. In the Shock Gyno Technology Dab Plumbing 0-1 out of Goodyear, Arizona. That is Nathan High. First time out for Nathan High this weekend. Right behind him, actually now passing him off of turn at number 4. That is your current points leader in the Sand Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Car Series and the ABC Ventures Appliance Junkies. The Race Shack, paint by Steve Binnick Enterprises. Number 12 out of Peoria, Arizona. It is Wee Man Josh Pelkey. Driver entering the track. In the Ryan's Drywall Services and Finishes, number 78 out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona, is Brody Wake. On your screen right now, that is the Los Alamos Auto Parts and Services, J.B. Henderson Construction, Wind Supply of Albuquerque, 21X out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, of Caleb Stelzig. Stelzig in the 21X. As 57 of Chaz Baca Jr. makes his way on the racetrack. He's sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings, VetNation.org. Next Gen Landscaping, Stonecipher Realtor, number 57 entry out of Mesa, Arizona. Of course, a former state champion in the IMCA modified ranks. Also got Justin Kearse out on the racetrack. His first night with us this weekend out of Reseda, California. On the finish line garage doors, Kevin Kearse Concrete Specialties, number 43. Along with the United Southwest Components, Monty Windows and Doors, Apache Scales, 33P of R.J. Johnson out of Levine. Things didn't go quite as good for R.J. last night on the 410 side. Did pick it up in the 360 side, though. Had a great battle with himself. For the second spot for about 10 laps in a row. As R.J. Johnson does move to the top of the chart, 17.007. Brent Yarnell, number 29, 18.077. He's second quick in this session and overall. As the checker flag will fly on hot lap session number 2. R.J. Johnson, 16.709, so he picked it up tremendously that second lap that he had. Caleb Stelzig, second quick, 17.664. Brody Wake, third quick, 17.842. 17.906 for Justin Kearse. Brent Yarnell, fifth quick, 18.077. Chaz Baca with an 18.081. Dason Pursley was out in that first group. Seventh quick overall. Nathan High, 8th quick, Brady Bacon 9th, and Josh Pelkey 10th quick so far out of the two groups that have gone. So cars entering track, first car out in the Jackson Compaction Schaefer's Racing Oil Actually, that's the Australian Outback Plants, Big Sky Logistics, the Race Shack, Extreme Plumbing, 72 of AJ Hernandez out of Phoenix, Arizona. As 10X hits the track, that is George Zills out of Tucson, Arizona, the Ed Power Racing entry. Snap-on Tools, number 6, Caden Clark. Also on track, another driver out of Tucson. As the Avante Windows and Doors, CK Electric, High Performance Walker Performance Filtration, number 2, a JJ Yaley out of Phoenix makes his way onto the track. Right now, coming off of turn number 2. And behind him is the 21 Pritchett Metal Products, HP Diesel, Healthy Soils, Cal Pro Turf, Klein Engine Spike Chassis. Number 21 out of Henderson, Nevada, that is Austin Irvine. With the Flow One Plumbing, Next Gen Landscaping, Creation and Thread, the Mrs. DeGatton, 39T of Troy DeGatton, driver out of Congress, Arizona. Coming off of turn number 2, just ahead of that black number 6 of Clark. So looking to get 2 more cars out on the racing surface. Last night's 3rd place finisher in Jet Limousines, Efficient Recovery, Price Right Auto Cells, the Race Shack, Paint by Steve, 10AZ. Out of Tempe, Arizona, it's Speedy Stevie Sussex. Sussex actually has some T-shirts down on the midway he's trying to sell off tonight. As a local driver put on a heck of a show last night, going from 20th to 3rd in the 360 main event. Also got the Wayne's Fault Racing Garrett Engines North End Diesel Repair 007 out of Tucson of Wayne Siddle out there. And the last driver just came on to the racing surface in the 30K Hollywood Towing Johnson Racing entry out of Phoenix is Dan Klinder. As track goes green for hot lap session number 3. So RJ Johnson still fastest overall, but AJ Hernandez in this session is the fastest so far in this 3rd session with a 18.53. Travis DeGatton 17.103. Stevie Sussex 17.110. So RJ Johnson, AJ Hernandez, Dayton Shelton, Travis DeGatton, Stevie Sussex, your top 5 so far for hot laps here. And of course, if you want to follow along with timing and scoring for the Sand Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Car Series, make sure you have MRP up, My Race Pass. That's where you can find that. If you have a race monitor, that's where you can follow along with the Amsoil USAC.
Okay, guys, roll the top of 1 and 2. Roll the top of 1 and 2. Bottom 3 and 4.
As one car is stalled on him was George Zills in the 10X. As final group making their way onto the racetrack. Had a fast car last night as he goes down the back straightaway here. That is the Calder-Wood-Meyer MP Environmental 6C out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. That is Briggs Danner. Briggs Danner coming off of turn number 4. And behind Briggs Danner in the Jet Limousines, Efficient Recovery, Price Right Auto Cells, the Race Shack, Paint by Steve. And number 10 out of Phoenix, Arizona is Eugene Thomas. Thomas in the number 10, of course, teaming up with Stevie Sussex this week. And Stevie's actually driving Thomas's car as The Radio Flyer, Bruce St. James, comes to the racetrack, sponsored by Woodland Auto Display, Bell Racing, Justice Brothers, and Victory Sills. He's out of Apache Junction, Arizona. Of course, you can hear him on 92.3 KTAR in the afternoons out here in Phoenix. For you local race fans, or for you that are traveling and will still be in town come Monday and Tuesday. Or just hitting the speedway, the Makina Coffee, Snap-on Tools number 14 out of Simi Valley, California. That is Blake Hendricks. Also on the racetrack. And the Action Auto Repair, Remax Fine Properties, Waddle Racing Engines. North Valley Family Dentistry, number 22 AZ out of New River, Arizona, is Lonnie Oliver. Oliver coming across the line now behind Bruce St. James. As the East County Electric Works, Sexton Fire Protection, Valley Lubricants, HRP, Key Bros Racing, 22 of Grant Sexton, driver Lakeside, California. That pink lettered car coming off of turn number 2. Waiting on the 3K, the Krob Racing entry of Patrick Krob out of Pearl City, Hawaii. That 21, that is owned by Sean Deskins and Mesilla Valley Transport Premium Coach Group number 21S this evening. I'm going to go Goleta, California. That is David Gasper. Thought Sean was going to race tonight. Decided to focus all his attention on the 21S of Gasper, though, this weekend.
Went down and asked him if he was going to race tonight. Said, not this weekend. Decided he was better off on the owner crew chief role, so letting David get back behind the wheel.
Probably saw some of the shenanigans last night and said, you know what, I might be a little too old for this. As following the 81K, the Ricky Kinney Jr. out of Buckeye, Arizona, the Backyard Custom Speedway Lettering Graphics, 60 Motors, Dab Plumbing, CW Racing, 81K. There's Patrick Krob. He checked in last night, did not make it out, though, for his heat or the B. Of course, the little engine that could. Driver out of Pearl City, Hawaii, and that 3K is Krob. Checker flag is out. Briggs Danner to the top of the charts from that session with a 16.187. 16.187 for Briggs Danner. David Gasper second quick in that session and overall with a 16.617. The rest of your top 5 overall, R.J. Johnson, the 33P is 16.079. Grant Sexton, 16.710. Eugene Thomas was 5th quick overall with a 16.801. Then was A.J. Hernandez in a 6th. 7th was Dayton Shelton. 8th, Lonnie Oliver. 9th, Ricky Kinney Jr. Blake Hendricks clocked in 10th quick overall. It's Bruce St. James, Travis DeGatton, Stevie Sussex, Austin Irvine, Caleb Stelzig. 11th through 15th. Brody Wake was 16th quick. Patrick Krob 17th quick. 18th quick was Justin Kears. 19th was Brent Yarnell. Jazz Baca was 20th. Jason Pursley 21st. Nathan High 22nd. Brady Bacon 23rd. Josh Pelkey 24th. Jonas Reynolds 25th. Quick, 26 down. BJ Fernandez, George Zills, Rayson Silva, Alexa Herrera. Wayne Siddle was 30th. Caden Clark was 31st. Dan Klinder 32nd. Dalen Pereira was 33rd. With Brian Ledbetter Jr., KTJ, Kevin Thomas Jr. 35th. Josh Shipley was 36th, and Mike Waddle was 37th. A couple of drivers did not have a working transponder, so they did not clock in. So hot lap sessions are in the books for the Sands Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Car Series. They'll be out later on for their heat races. As looks like we got some more cars taken to the racetrack, Brian.
Indeed, thank you very much. As the first set of Dirt Draft Hot Laps going to make its way out to the Speedway for the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. Normally, you would see them come out by qualifying group. Instead, it will be by qualifier group as the lineups for the 3 qualifiers seeded by yesterday's finish. So we'll have 3 sets of Dirt Draft Hot Laps. First driver to tell you about is out of Locust Grove, Oklahoma. The Avanti Windows and Doors, PristineAuction.com, CB Industries, NOS number 86. That is Dason Pursley. Dason Pursley in the number 86, rolling down the back straight with a 2023 champion of the Western World. Driver in 5, that is Ty Mahako. Mahako out of Peoria, Arizona. The Dave Wilson Special, Donna DRC, paint by Steve, FK Indy, Steffi Excavating, Michael Most Trucking, number 5. 8th place finish in last year's championship event of the Western World when it was at Mojave Valley. Makes his way here down the front straightaway. Rolling down the front straightaway, that is the 17X. The driver coming to us out of Brentwood, California. The Inland Rigging, Maxima Oil, Tom and Christy Dunkel, Osborne Speed Machine, Maverick Transport Simpson, number 17X. That is Blake Bauer. Blake Bauer, one of our Western World Rookie of the Year contenders, making his way onto the back straightaway. Another one of our rookie contenders during this year's event, Marty Hawkins out of Santa Rosa, California. The Hedged Solution Shaver Maxim Hawkins Motorsports number 3M ended up 5th in last night's Hoosier Tire C feature event. Makes his way over into turn number 3. Cole Wakeham in the 73 out of Simi Valley, California. The Quick Change Products, Liquid Energy Drinks, One-Way XXX Chassis, Shurcan, Inland Rigging, JFM number 73. Another driver on the rookie list for this year's running of the Western World Championships. He was 9th in last night's Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event, making his way here to the front straightaway. Provisional and then the run through the field last night for Ricky Lewis out of Oxnard, California. The Superior Tank and Trailer Physical Medicine Consultants. Basia Valley Transportation, Morris Farms, Haley Motorsports number 41. Ended up 8th in the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event. Took the provisional with the Avanti Windows and Doors USAC CRA Series and ran it all the way up to a 5th place finish in last night's feature event. Currently 2nd with the USAC CRA Series coming into tonight. Only a few races remain on the season for those drivers. Chasing RJ Johnson, trying to capture the championship away from him. Next driver to tell you about, out of Pleasant Hill, Ohio, the Western States Profiling, Donna DRC, Metro Engineering and Surveying, RSS Industries, number 11C, that is Matt Westfall. Matt Westfall down to the bottom side of turns 3 and 4, the Turner Wheeler Motorsports, number 11C. Trio of wins on the season, all with the Boss Series, Florence, and then twice in Montpelier, going to victory lane, May and October. Successful months for the driver of the number 11C. Coming to speed now with a Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, the MP Environmental, Bioman Motorsports, One-Way XXX Chassis, Collinwood Racing number 4C, the Macho Man, Brady Bacon, going to sling the slime at the exit of turn at number 4. The 3R on track, Kevin Thomas Jr. to Coleman, Alabama, as Drake alluded to earlier. Bringing down the backup Mach 1 chassis, the Inferno Armor, Majestic Electric, Factory Kane, Rocksteady Racing number 3R at speed onto the back straightaway. Last victory with the Midwest 410 Series. That was back at Tri-State in October. His last USAC National score back at Kokomo on August 22nd. The 17 GP on track, that is Stevie Sussex III out of Tempe, Arizona. The Lifestyle Homes, Parallax Group, Big Rig Repair Services of Indiana, number 17. 12th in the feature last night from 20th. Ran 3rd in the 360 feature from 20th. So a lot of passing going on last night for Stevie Sussex. Max Adams, oh boy, one of them is on fire. Whole lot of smoke and flames off of the 41 of Ricky Lewis. Not the way to start the night, but it looks like things are still rolling. Last night we saw that early on as well. In fact, in the same turn. There's a little bit of oil getting blown out of the number 41 machine. It just had one driver come up on screen. We don't want to leave him out. Max Adams out of Loomis, California. The Barnes Systems Incorporated. Murray Body Shop, Pendleton Farms, number 42, was also out on the speedway. 18th in last night's feature event, matching his prelim night run from 2023 at Kokopah. Quick look at lap times. Dason Pursley at a 15.874. Brady Bacon at a 15.914. Stevie Sussex at a 15.941. Blake Bowers 16.037. And Cole Wakeham at a 16.060. The 5 quickest drivers who were just on track. Mentioned it earlier, brake problems aplenty for the driver to Levine, Arizona. The current points leader with the Avante Windows and Doors USAC CRA Series, making his way to the exit to number 4. The Avante Windows and Doors, Apache Transport, Lifestyle Homes at Jugo Superfoods, number 33P. This is R.J. Johnson. R.J. Johnson in the number 33. Driver in 97, rolling through turns 3 and 4. Connor Lundy out of Peoria, Arizona. The Apache Transport, RJR Suspension, Mopar Powered Sherman Race Cars. Number 97 into 27th in last night's feature event. Another one of our Western World Rookie of the Year contenders, chasing the Whiz Kid Award in honor of Eric Wilkins. Hayden Reinbold on the back straightaway out of Gilbert, Arizona. The AME Electrical, Avante Windows and Doors, Andy Race Parts, Stanton Spike. Reinbold, Underwood Motorsports, number 19. Another one of our Western World rookies. Third last night in the Elliott's Custom Trailers Cars semi-feature event. Moving on into the feature with a 19th place finish. See if he can improve here tonight. He makes his way to the exit of turn at number 4. Drivers continuing to make their way out to the racing surface. Here at the flag stand, that is Jim Van Zandt. Van Zandt out of Prescott, Arizona. Rolling into turns 1 and 2, that is Eddie Tafoya Jr. out of Chino Hills, California. The Specialty Fasteners, number 51T. Driver rolling out to the speedway right now, that is Saban Bybant out of Cincinnati, Ohio. The Epoxy Systems International, Glen Farms, J&D Chevrolet Power, Triple X number 98, makes his way over to turn number 1. A.J. Bender going to be rolling behind him here in just a moment. Driver the Bender Pool and Spa, Shaver, DRC, Matrix Construction Services, Key Brothers Racing, rolls scaffolding number 21. He rolls through turns 1 and 2. Also out to the speedway, rolling into frame, that is Justin Grant out of Ione, California. The NOS Energy and PV Logistics gets their max at number 4. He rolls down the back stretch. Rough go last night for the driver of Lakeside, California. Rolling over to turn number 1. Before we get to him, though, we're going to talk about the number 17, Ryan Burnell at Hollister, California. The Inland Rigging, Dunkel Farms, one-way DRC chassis. Dunkel Calderwood, number 17. 10th last night, he was your hard charger, coming up from the 18th position. Now to the driver who had that little bit of a rough run last night. Talking about Brent Sexton to Lakeside, California. Ended up scratching following his heat race as he was at speed. The car losing power, rolled it down to the apron of the speedway. In the Sexton Fire Protection, Shaver Triple X, Key Brothers Racing, Automated Interiors, number 44. Couple of more drivers to tell you about, and that includes Chase Stockton out of Fort Branch, Indiana. The Brown Brothers Excavating, Daywig Meeks, Lucas Oil Center, Kessler DRC Chassis, number 92. 13th last night for the 19th starting spot as we go on board here with the Moose Racing, number 92. Checkered flag here in Dirt Draft Hot Lap session number 2. Chase Stockin. We get the chance to ride on board with him a little bit there during Dirt Draft Hot Laps. Up to the top of the charts at a 15.829. Eddie Tafoya Jr. 15.856. Jason Pursley 15.874. Brady Bacon a 15.914. And Stevie Sussex a 15.941. Isaac Chappell, Blake Bauer, RJ Johnson, Cole Wakeham, and Kevin Thomas Jr. currently making the top 10 quickest in Dirt Draft Hot Laps. One more session to go. Once we wrap up our hot laps for our qualifiers, we'll have the 4 drivers who are locked into the Underwood Dash coming up. They will get a chance to check out the speedway. Top 4 from last night, top 2 from each of our qualifiers going on into the Underwood Dash. And again, 3 laps. Caution, if you're in the last 2 positions, you're done in first round. 3 more laps. Caution, if you're the last 2, you're done. We take it down to 4. And then it's a 3-lap shootout for the top 4 starting spots. Again, the champion getting $5,000 in the Underwood Dash in the pole in tonight's Western World Feature event. Kyle Shipley to Phoenix, Arizona. The Benz Asphalt, the Blind Man, Quick Time Electric, B&B Farms, Black Gold Motorsports 0G. Making his way down the back straightaway towards turn number 3. Picking up a weekly win at the Honest Abe Roofing Lincoln Park Speedway back in April. The 19AZ on track, that's Mitchell Moles. Last night's Honest Abe Roofing Quick Qualifier, tying the single season record at 15 with Kevin Thomas Jr. Moles behind the wheel, the AMA Electrical Massive Transportation, Stanton Spike, number 19 AZ. Midget victory during Kokomo. And win at Paragon back in September. Jake Swanson out of Anaheim, California. The Inland Rigging, Snake Enterprises, One Way DRC Chassis, Doughboys LLC, Dirt Roots Digital number 5T. 9th in last night's feature event. Picking up a USAC CRA win at Mojave Valley back in February. Last Saturday night, $10,000 in his pocket at the Route 66 Motor Speedway in Amarillo, Texas. He is the 2022 champion of this event. Matching his prelim run from 2024 last night. Logan Calderwood at a Goodyear, Arizona. The MP Environmental, One Way, Triple X Chassis, JFM, Sure Can, Chuck D's Wieners, Rex's Tattoo, a Massage Parlor, number 6 machine. 5th in last night's Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event. Ran 24th in last year's championship event here at the Western World. Going back into the Midwest, picked up a win at Millstream with the Boss Series. Driver rolling past him. That was J.J. Yaley out of Phoenix, Arizona. The Avanti Windows and Doors, Stanton DRC, Walker Filtration, CK Electric, High Performance Lubricants, Petty Performance number 2. Couple of wins this year during the Louis Vermeil Classic at Calistoga, and then the Hockin McMillan Memorial, Lucas Oil Speedway, back on September 20th. 22nd in last night's feature event. Ran 6th in the 360 feature after an issue with the fuel pump. Talked about it earlier. Luckily for him, unlucky for others. Not able to get the initial lap completed, so they had a little extra time to get the car put back together. Kobe Simpson out of Bonham, Texas, out to the Speedway. The B-Town Automotive, Kennedy DRC, Circle C Adventures, Simpson Performance Horses. Scorpion Racewear tops up here, Bud Quality Threads, number 21K, another one of our Western World rookies. Win earlier this season with the Elite Non-Wing Series up at Lawton Speedway. That was back in August. The 17W, that is Austin Williams out of Yorba Linda, California. The Inland Rigging, Maxima, One Way, DRC, BR Motorsports, Pacific Highway Rentals. Tom and Christy Dunkel own number 17W. 10th place finish in last year's championship feature event. Won the C last night. Ended up making it up to 12th in the Elliott's Custom Trailers and Carts semi-feature event. Wayne Siddle out of Tucson. The Arizona Affordable Diesel Tech, Gertie Powered, Maxims, Siddle Motorsports 00. 8th in last night's Hoosier Tire C feature event. Couple of attempts at the Western World, still trying to make it into a feature competition behind the wheel of that Gertie Powered 007. The man they call tall, Trey Osborne out of Columbus, Ohio. The Industrial Hydraulics Incorporated, Jet Hill Trailer Sales, Mopar Triple X Chassis, Larry Eberto, number 6T. One of our Western World rookies in a 15th in last night's feature event. As the drivers will get the word to get spread out, the green lights will come on, and we're underway here with your final flight of Dirt Draft Hot Laps for the drivers who find themselves in qualifiers. Driver up to the top of the boards, David Gasper in the 18, turning the quickest lap at a 15.606 behind the wheel of the Gasper Racing, Art Cleat, Kittle Motorsports, Valley Precision Products, Shaver DRC number 18. Ended up 6th in last night's Elliott's Custom Trailers Kart semi-feature event, 1 year ago, 12th in Western World Championship competition. Logan Calderwood ends up 2nd quick, J.J. Yaley 3rd quick, Gunnar Setzer 4th quick, Jake Swanson was 5th quick, the top 5 separated by just over a 1/10 of a second. Kyle Shipley is 6th quick, Charles Davis Jr. is 7th, Chase Stockin, Austin Williams, and Eddie Tafoya Jr. into making it the top 10. One more round of hot laps to go. These will be the drivers locked in to tonight's feature event and ergo into the Underwood Dash. First driver to tell you about, he's from right down the road in Chandler, Arizona. The Avante Windows and Doors, Stanton Sherman Apache. Petty Performance number 20 RT. That is Ricky Thornton Jr. Ricky Thornton Jr. making his way over towards turn number 3. The 21 AZ, CJ Leary at Greenfield, Indiana. The Curb Records, Kodiak Products, One Way DRC, Apache Transport, Curb Academian Racing, Team Arizona, number 21 AZ. Third in last night's feature event. 1 year ago in prelim competition was a 4th place run for the driver number 21 AZ, so improving on that. The 3P of Kyle Cummins at Princeton, Indiana. The Avante Windows and Doors, Premier Recycling, Apache Transport, Petty Performance number 3P. Second in last night's feature event. The 2024 winner of the Western World. Ran 3rd in prelim competition 1 year ago, so improving upon that. A 15-time winner on the season. His last win coming at the Dodge City Raceway Park back on October 17th. Of those 15 wins, 10 have been with the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. And the final driver to tell you about, he was in victory lane last night, got the guitar and the $7,500 to go with it out of Sutter, California. The Mount Mechanical Contractors, Indy Power Sports, Carrington Homes, Fortech Marketing, Abacus Race at number 57. This is Logan Seavey. Logan Seavey working onto the back straightaway. The 2021 champion of the Western World, doing so at Arizona Speedway. Leary in the 21, a trio of wins on the season in Silver Crown as well as sprint car competition. Win at Indianapolis and Lucas Oil. DeCoin on August 30th, Indiana Sprint Week at Circle City, going to victory lane. There's Kyle Cummins, the newly crowned champion of the USAC Amsoil Sprint Car National Championship. His first, a first for Petty Performance, also a first for Mach 1 chassis as a manufacturer on the national scene of the United States Auto Club. The 20 RT at speed over in turns 3 and 4. Ricky Thornton Jr. Again, 4th in last night's feature event. He is the leading contender, of course, for the Rookie of the Year. Trying to take his season win total up to 25 and add yet another division. Late models, modified, stock cars, micros so far. And immediately those 4 drivers going to the top of the charts. 15.370 for C.J. Leary. Ricky Thornton Jr. 15.514. Logan Seavey at 15.534. And Kyle Cummins up to 4th quick at 15.555. So the gate will open to the back straightaway. Cars will begin to make their way back into the pit area. We'll have opening ceremonies coming up here in just a moment. Race fans, appreciate your patience, doing a little extra work on the track to get things going here tonight. A lot of laps set to be turned, and we look forward to putting on a fantastic show for you here this evening. The crowd, phenomenal last night, even better tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making the Western World, once again, one of the crown jewel must-attend events in sprint car racing. So getting everybody filed down into the infield here. And looks like things are ready to go. Let's take it down trackside to Christy Bemis.
Well, thank you, Brian. We are almost ready to get things kicked off for the 58th running of the Western World Championship, this time here at Central Arizona Raceway. And as we speak of this racetrack and what it has become in the last several years, I'll go ahead and introduce one of the individuals who has helped bring this racetrack to what we see today and create this event to what we're looking at today. That is promoter Brad Whitfield.
Good afternoon, race fans. How y'all doing? Oh, come on. You guys can do better than that. Race fans, how y'all doing? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Excited to have all of you, all of these great fans, all of these great racers, all these great sponsors. But I'll tell you what, there's one man in 1966 brought his Manzanita Speedway to life with the very first Western World Championships. Let's give it up for the Hall family. Tracy, lad, come on up here real quick. You know, I wasn't around when that all took place. But I'll tell you, if this doesn't give you chills and goosebumps when you walk through these gates and you see the Manzanita Speedway signs and the shirts and the nostalgia that this event is brought to the state of Arizona and across this country through USAC and the whole 9 yards. But as kids, you guys growing up, your dad was the man. He's still the man.
Here we go, Dad. I just want to say thank you for everybody coming out. This is the first time since you were the boss that the Western World is exactly how it was back in the day. And I cannot thank Jerry Petty enough. He's so humble. And this is the closest it's ever been. And I can't believe we found somebody that loves sprint car racing as much as Jerry and Brad Whitfield. And I'm so thankful that they brought it back to how it needs to be and keep his legend going.
Wow. This is, well, first of all, I'd like to thank all the race fans for coming out and supporting this. And I'd like to thank Jerry and Brad for keeping my dad's legacy alive. And they really have done a good part of keeping it just like my dad would have done it. It means a lot. And racing was a big part of my dad's life and our family's life. And these guys are keeping our legacy going. And I want to just say thank you guys, thank you, and good luck to all the racers.
Let's hear it one more time for Keith Hall and the Keith Hall family, guys. We have some really cool people that's in the house with us tonight. I would like to give a mention to the Pinal County Sheriff, Ross Teeple. He's in the house. Sheriff, will you give him a big old wave for me, please? He also has his junior parada gals, the Queens, here with us tonight. They'll be part of trophy ceremonies. I'm going to toss it back to USAC.
Thanks so much, Brad, and thanks for everything you've done for the Western World Championship. Before we get started, we will turn to the Lord. If you would please rise for me as we welcome Miss Lori Cutter with Racers for Christ for your invocation.
Let's ask for a blessing. Dear Heavenly Father, we come with grateful hearts gathered here at Central Arizona Raceway for the 58th running of the Western World and the championship night of the AMSOIL USAC sprint car season. An event rich in history started by the Hall family. Lord, you have richly blessed Brad and Jerry Petty of Avanti with many hardworking hands to transform this track. Bless their vision and desire to strengthen dirt track racing in Arizona. Fill this place with your presence, Lord. Place your protection over our facility. Ride with our drivers from green to checkered, guiding them safely. May they race with integrity and sportsmanship, honoring you. We pause to honor America's armed forces, veterans, and all who defend our freedoms, even our freedoms to race. Be their companion tonight, Lord, and bring them home safely. Thank you for the passionate fans here and on FloRacing for their loyalty and support throughout the year. Thank you for your covering this season, guiding teams through highs and lows, redeeming, restoring, and healing the injured. Lord, grant us travel mercies as all head home or to the next track. May winter bring renewal with a harvest of sponsors, competitors, and fans. We ask this in your mighty name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much, Lori. If everybody could please remain standing and remove any head cover as Jerry Bullis will perform our national anthem. Well, thank you so much, Jerry. What a wonderful, wonderful tribute to our country before we kick off the 58th running of the Western World Championship here at Central Arizona Raceway. Brian, up in the booth, we are so excited for this event. $35,000 up for grabs tonight for your winner of a 40-lap main event.
Indeed, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, are you ready for the Western World? Just a little bit here before we bring out our opening heat race of the evening. It will be the Sands Chevrolet Wild West 360 non-wing sprint cars. 8 laps the distance in each of those heat races. And, Jason, 4 in total for those, correct?
Yes, sir. 4 heat races. First one will be brought to you by North End Diesel Repair. On the pole, he is your current points leader for the Sands Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Car Series and ABC Ventures Appliance Junkies, the Race Shack, paint by Steve, number 12, out of Peoria, Arizona. It is wee man Josh Pelkey. To his outside in the Desert Winds Automotive Duck Racing 25W out of Chandler is Mike Waddle. In row number 2 on the inside, the Bono Motorsports number 15 out of Coleman, Alabama. He was last night's feature winner. That is KTJ Kevin Thomas Jr. And to his outside in the Silver Racing 5S out of Henderson, Nevada is Racing Silva. Then it's the Australian Outback Plants, Big Sky Logistics, the Race Shack, paint by Steve, number 72 out of Phoenix, Arizona of AJ Hernandez. To his outside Starting in the 6th spot in the East County Electric Works Sexton Fire Protection Valley Lubricants 22 out of Lakeside, California is Grant Sexton. Inside row number 4 in the Action Auto Repair Remax Fire Properties Waddell Racing Engines 22 AZ out of New River, Arizona is Lonnie Oliver. And to his outside in the Ryan's Drywall Services and Finishes 78 out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona is Brody Wake. 5th and final row on the inside, getting his first start of the weekend in the Finish Line Garage Doors, Kevin Kearse Concrete Specialties, number 43 out of Reseda, California, is Justin Kearse. And outside of him in the Hollywood Towing Johnson Racing 30K out of Phoenix is Dan Klender. And how about a special shout out for our lady that was mounting the horse tonight, Kayla Sparks was on that horse, flying Old Glory this evening. She lit the wick on that thing there towards the end there. Lost her hat. The real horsepower.
You want to talk about a combination of events, and we've been talking about the Wild West Shootout. Of course, Chris Kearns putting up that $520 for the Wild West Shootout Stampede. That is the passing master bonus for the driver that advances the most positions in USAC competition from tonight and last night. And during the Wild West Shootout, there's a few days they're going to have barrel racing down in the infield.
Let's go.
So Chris always, trying to come up with something a little bit different ways to kind of fill maybe some of the downtime, the track prep time. But, yeah, they're going to have barrel racing going on during that. So horses and horsepower.
I shouldn't get too excited. He might hear me and put me in one of those barrels.
Chris, we have a volunteer.
No.
He's volunteered as tribute.
He is a master promoter, so I would not put it past him to throw at least me or Jason Babiak in there. Maybe Jason Rominger. He can mount the third one there.
Give him a camera.
There we go.
Race director, photographer extraordinaire for the 360 series.
I was doing a couple of pass-throughs up top on the racetrack, getting this track worked in before we get into our first heat race of the night. Again, it will be 4 heat races here this evening for the San Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Cars Series. Top 20 and passing points will make the main event tonight. Then we'll put the rest in a 12-lap B main. The top 4 from there will advance.
Mentioned the other day, I think Jason's just about everything but flip burgers. He's confirmed he has not been in the concession stand.
Have not. I was down at the food tent earlier. Man, got to give a shout out to one of our presenting sponsors this week, and Buffalo Wild Wings. Those chicken wraps were phenomenal. Of course, Megan Johnson providing the buffalo chicken dip for us. And, man, I just plastered that thing on the buffalo chicken wrap. It was pristine. Of course, if you haven't been to Central Arizona Raceway in quite a while, you will notice that this is a completely different looking racetrack. Of course, we have the wall now, the beautiful catch fence, wheel and caution lights, and yes, we have a scoreboard. Look just down the back straightaway by our Wild West Shootout sign. And of course, we have our Busch Light gate down the back straightaway where the drivers will exit, which that came into play over the summer months along with our new flag stand. We got Brett and Bubba up on the flag stand this evening as the first car takes to the racetrack here, getting ready for our first 8-lap heat race of the night. This one brought to you by North End Diesel Repair. There's going to be Josh Pelkey and Mike Waddle, your front row. KTJ, Racing Silva in row number 2. AJ Hernandez, Grant Sexton in row 3. Lonnie Oliver, Brody Wake. And row 4 and row 5, the 43 of Justin Kearse and the 30K of Dan Klender. Last night, Kevin Thomas Jr. won the main event. Saw a couple of familiar faces up there. As Briggs Danner in the 6C had a 3-second lead. He's lapping some cars and got caught up in a mess midway through last night's main event. Brady Bacon was also in the mix in the 51 car before he had issues with his car. And Stevie Sussex from 20 to 3rd had a shot at KT, just could not quite pull it off there towards the end. We cut last night's race short by 5 laps. Talked to Stevie earlier. He said, man, if I just had those 5 extra laps, I think I would have had something for him. He, of course, is driving for Eugene Thomas this weekend. He'll be out a little bit later on in our Sand Chevrolet Heat Race number 4. So the field getting a lineup on your points leader, Josh Pelkey. Josh Pelkey last night, 16th place finish for that number 12 car. Talked to him earlier on in the pits. I was like, man, did you guys just miss the setup? What happened out there? Because you looked phenomenal here in the heat race. Came from 7th to 2nd last night in the heat race. He said, you know what? I just did not feel like I had a right rear underneath me, and I just could not make anything happen in that 20-lap main event. So we told Robbie Allen, the car owner, earlier today, said, I don't care what you do this thing. I want to feel a right rear. I don't care if this car goes 2 feet in the air tonight. I need something to feel. As Pelkey, Waddle, KTJ, Racing Silva, your front 2 rows. AJ Hernandez, Grant Sexton, Lonnie Oliver, Brody Wake, rows 3 and 4. And in row 5. And Pelkey will take the race lead off of turn number 2 as right now Mike Waddle trying to hold off the hard charge with the 30K, and Kevin Thomas Jr. Racing Silva up there as well, working the top side. It will be Pelkey leading the lap number 1. Josh Pelkey leads lap number 1. Mike Waddle in 2nd. Grant Sexton right now being scored in that 3rd spot. Sexton takes that 2nd spot away. Kevin Thomas Jr. follows his tracks. He'll move up to the 3rd as Racing Silva gets around Mike Waddle on the outside up to 4th. Waddle from the front row all the way back to 5th now as they go side by side behind him. The 72 of AJ Hernandez trying to get around the 78 of Brody Wake. So Hernandez, that maroon number 72, he'll sneak past the inside of Waddell. Brody Wake will follow suit. Looks like every car just trying to avoid making contact with that 25 of Waddell as Lonnie Oliver goes down the inside of him. Almost comes right across the nose. Waddle got a little loose at the apex of turns 1 and 2. Almost went around as Justin Kearse took advantage. He stuck to the inside of both Waddle and Lonnie Oliver. As KTJ, Kevin Thomas Jr. running in that 3rd spot right now, trying to work his way around the number 22 machine of Grant Sexton. Sexton in the 2nd spot has about a car length advantage over KTJ as Sexton working that middle, a little bit higher line there than Kevin Thomas Jr. It's Josh Pelkey right now out front by just a half second. Top 3, they break away from a Racing Silva, who's looking really good so far tonight. Might lose a spot to AJ Hernandez. Hernandez battles him on the inside, down the back straightaway. KTJ once again to the inside of Sexton. This is on for second. Side by side heading into turn 1. It's Kevin Thomas Jr. down low. Sexton in that white and pink lettered car. Up top, Sexton will keep the second spot. Drive away by about 3 car lengths down the back straightaway. So they come up to the line. White flag in the air for Josh Pelkey. Wee Man leads the field into turn number 1. It's Pelkey, Sexton, Thomas. Your top 3 off of turn number 2. Josh Pelkey looks a little bit better here tonight than what he had in last night's main event. He'll lead him off of turn number 4. Checkered flag. Josh Pelkey wins our North End Diesel Repair Heat Race number 1, followed by Grant Sexton. Kevin Thomas Jr. comes home in 3rd. 4th is Racing Silva. AJ Hernandez rounds out your top 5. Then is Brody Wake, Justin Kearse, Lonnie Oliver, Dan Klender, Mike Waddle took his car off of the racetrack. He will get a DNF. So looking at passing points, Grant Sexton from 6th to 2nd in that heat race. Definitely help him out a little bit later on for our main event, but we still have 3 heat races to go, so we'll see where he ends up starting here tonight. As heat race number 2 on the racetrack, this one brought to you by Sunoco Racing Fuels on the pole and the LRE Equipment Services. Schaefer's Racing Oil, Waddell Racing Engines, number 70 out of Safford, Arizona. It's Brian Ledbetter Jr. Outside of Ledbetter and the Avanti Windows and Doors, CK Electric High Performance, Walker Performance Filtration, number 2 out of Phoenix, Arizona is JJ Yaley. And inside row number 2 in the Ed Power Racing 10X out of Tucson is George Zills. He'll start 4th tonight in the MRC Construction, the Racetrack Mike Waddle Engines, number 87 out of Milani, Hawaii. That is BJ Fernandez. To his outside in the Pritchett Metal Products, HP Diesel, Healthy Soils, Cal Pro Turf, Klein Engines. Number 21 out of Henderson, Nevada is Austin Irvine. Starting outside of Irvine in the Woodland Auto Display, Bell Racing Justice Brothers. Victory Seals 7K out of Apache Junction, Arizona. That is the Radio Flyer, Bruce St. James. And inside of row number 4, the Martin Auto Museum BG Products, Pecan Builders, number 51 out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. It's the Macho Man, Brady Bacon. Rolling off 8th outside of Bacon, the Backyard Custom, Speedway Lettering Graphics, 60 Motors, Dab Plumbing, CW Racing, Shock Gyno, Diamond Fabrication, number 81K out of Buckeye, Arizona is Ricky Kinney Jr. And your 5th and final row on the inside in the United Southwest Components, Fonte Windows and Doors, Apache Scales, Lifestyle Homes, Jugo Superfoods, Petty Performance Racing, RJR Suspension, 33P out of Levine, Arizona is RJ Johnson. And rounding out the field of 10 in the Speed Sports Futura Trailers, Advanced Machine Works, number 2X out of Surprise, Arizona, it's the Prez, Josh Shipley. And got a chance to catch up with Josh last night. Of course, his younger brother, Kyle Shipley, racing in the USAC ranks this year, and actually moved out of Arizona up to the Midwest a couple of years ago. Josh said he was out of practice. Everybody referred to him as Kyle's brother. He's like, no, I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. So Josh didn't like that. A couple of years ago, another track announcer out here, so we called Josh Shipley the Prez. Somebody called Kyle Shipley the Vice Prez, and Kyle did not like that, so I guess an eye for an eye with the Shipley brothers. But good to see both Shipleys in action. Good to see Kyle back in Arizona this weekend. So lights are out. Brian Ledbetter, JJ Yaley, your front row. George Zills, BJ Fernandez in row 2. Austin Irvin, Bruce St. James in a row of 3 with Brady Bacon, Ricky Kinney Jr. in row 4, R.J. Johnson, Josh Shipley, row 5. Another 8-lap heat race brought to you by Sunoco Racing Fuels. Green flags in the air. Heat race number 2 is underway. And Brian Ledbetter Jr. will lead the field off of turn number 2 with J.J. Yaley in that second spot. B.J. Fernandez in the third. Bruce St. James right now running in the 4th spot. His 4th race of the entire season in 2025 for Bruce St. James. Had a pretty good run last night, all things considered. Made the main event. Just his 3rd night out in that race car. So right now runs on that 4th spot as Brian Ledbetter leads J.J. Yaley. Those 2 drivers have broken away from B.J. Fernandez as they work their way off of turn number 4. Yaley got a car length behind Ledbetter. He'll go to the top side of the racetrack through turns 1 and 2, trying to diamond off turn number 2 and make a way down the inside of Ledbetter. Thought he had a little opening right there. Ledbetter, though, slams the door on him as they head into turn number 3. Ledbetter leads Yaley off of 4 with Yaley just about a half car length behind that 7-0 of Ledbetter. Brian Ledbetter Jr. looking pretty racy so far here tonight. J.J. Yaley trying to take that spot away. Yaley last night had fuel pump issues at the start of the main event. Got a red flag early in that main, though, on lap number 1. Was able to thrash on that car, get it changed, get it fixed, and came back to a 6th place finish as he goes to the top side of Ledbetter. New race leader J.J. Yaley takes the top spot. Yaley drives away from Ledbetter using that top side of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. Ledbetter back to that 2nd position. Battle for 3rd right now, starting to heat up. B.J. Fernandez has it, but Brady Bacon, he wants it. Bacon just got around Bruce St. James on the outside of turn 4 that last time. Bruce St. James almost made contact with the 51 of Bacon as R.J. Johnson now sneaks into your picture. Bacon down to the inside of Fernandez. That is a battle for 3rd. The Macho Man trying to get past the driver out of Hawaii. B.J., though, able to hang on to it. That purple and yellow 87 car. He'll drive away from Bacon by about 3 car lengths. Bruce St. James around the tail tank of Bacon's white flag flies this time for Yaley. One more time around for the driver of the number 2. The windows and doors. CK Electric Machine. Yaley driving away from Brian Ledbetter. That last lap, 1.5 second advantage. He'll see the checkered flag. He'll win heat race number 2. Ledbetter coming home in 2nd. Macho Man Brady Bacon and B.J. Fernandez side by side. Give it to Fernandez at the line. Brady Bacon comes home in 4th. 5th was Bruce St. James. 6th, R.J. Johnson. Austin Irvine in the 7th spot. Josh Shipley 8th. 9th, George Zills. Ricky Kinney Jr. was 10th. So give it up for the driver out of Phoenix, Arizona, the Avante Windows and Doors, CK Electric High Performance Walker Performance Filtration number 2, J.J. Yaley, your winner of Sunoco Fuels Heat Race number 2. That's 3rd heat race of the night coming on the racetrack. This is brought to you by Paint by Steve and the Race Shack on the pole. And the Flow One Plumbing, Next Gen Landscaping, Creation and Thread. The Mrs. DeGatton, number 39T out of Congress, Arizona. It's Troy DeGatton. To his outside, the Monte Windows and Doors, Pristine Auction, NOS Energy Drink, CB Industries, 86 at Locust Grove, Oklahoma is Dason Pursley. Pursley last night, 2nd place finisher. Inside of row number 2, the Jet Limousines, Efficient Recovery, Price Right Auto Sales, the Race Shack, Paint by Steve. Number 10 out of Phoenix, Arizona is Eugene Thomas. The Snap-on Tools, number 6 out of Tucson of Caden Clark. Inside of row 3, the Makina Coffee, Snap-on Tools. 14 out of Simi Valley, California is Blake Hendricks with the PK Racing 3K out of Pearl City, Hawaii of Patrick Krob. That's going to be the Calderwood Meyer MP Environmental 6C of Allentown, Pennsylvania. That's Briggs Danner starting inside of row number 4 into his outside, the Buffalo Wild Wings of North Dakota, vetnation.org, Next Gen Landscaping, Steve Stone, Cypher Realty, Smooth 6X, High Country Auto Glass. That is 57 out of Mesa, Arizona, Chaz Baca Jr. In your 5th and final row on the inside in the shot, Gyno Technology, Dab Plumbing 01 out of Goodyear, Arizona is Nathan High. And to his outside in the Wayne's Fault Racing, Garrett Engines, North End Diesel Repair, 007 out of Tucson is Wayne Siddle. So Patrick Krob coming on the racetrack. Last night he checked in, did not make it out for his heat race or the B, so They were working on some issues last night to get that car fired off, and here he is with us tonight. Looked very good during hot lap action. As just got the word that his truck broke down last night. So I believe he did the call ahead. Hey, let me check in. I'll be there when I can get there, and just did not make it in time. Like I said, Patrick Croft, driver out of Pearl City, Hawaii, the little engine that could, that 3K. Just loves racing. There's a lot of the drivers over here on the 360 side. This is the hobby, not the full-time gig where they're up and down the road. As Chaz Baca Jr. second in points for the San Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Car Series, just took to the racetrack, going into turn number 1. Also fighting for Rookie of the Year honors. He is a former IMCA Modified Arizona State Champion and former IMCA Modified National Champion. It's always cool to see drivers get out of their comfort zone. Of course, saw Ricky Kinney Jr. earlier on. He saw him last week racing a modified out here at Central Arizona Raceway. Saw Ricky Thornton Jr. last night. Of course, he moved up from the modified ranks, now tearing it up on the late model ranks, and was able to lock himself into tonight's main event over the USAC side with a 4th place finish last night, running 10th to 4th last night was RTJ. And for those asking, yes, he will be here in January doing a little split duty between Tulsa and Arizona for the Wild West Shootout, as well as the Chili Bowl Nationals. So Ricky Thornton Jr. coming back home in January.
The Levon jar of change that goes to the hard charger, currently over $2,400, is $2,461.98. $250 going to the 360 hard charger. The overall total, $3,733.24. I know, Steve, he's been walking around. They were set up down in the pits down by the USAC competition trailer. So if you want to contribute to that, you can certainly flag him down. And again, all of that going to tonight's hard charger in the feature event. There is also a jar at the USAC merchandise trailer. Of course, the Western World programs are available at the Kyle Cummins merchandise trailer and the Central Arizona Raceway souvenir trailers. Limited supply. Make sure and get them before they are gone.
Some good coloring pages in there for those of you with kids. As the lights go out, get ready for our heat race number 3, brought to you by Paints by Steve and the Race Shack. Troy DeGatton, Jason Pursley, your front row. Eugene Thomas, Caden Clark in row 2. Blake Hendricks, Patrick Crobb in row 3. Briggs Danner, Chaz Baca Jr. in row 4. And Nathan High and Wayne Siddle round out your field of 10. Green flags in the air. We are underway. Jason Pursley wasting no time to jump out front from the outside line. And Pursley will drive away from your pole sitter, Troy DeGatton, as the battle is on for that third spot. Caden Clark has it, but Eugene Thomas, he wants it. He looks to the outside of Clark for that 3rd position. Following him is going to be that Buffalo Wild Wings, the North Dakota number 57 of Chaz Baca Jr. Now Baca over the tail tank of Thomas as they work their way into turn number 3. Jason Pursley has checked out as he crosses the strike to lap number 2. Has a 2.5 second advantage already over the 39T of Troy DeGatton. Eugene Thomas in the 3rd spot. 4th is Chaz Baca. 5th right now, Patrick Crobb trying to hold off. Very fast race car behind him, and Briggs Danner in the 6th seat. Danner, though, will sneak by him. So DeGatton almost made contact with the outside retaining wall for turn number 4. Able to get the car back underneath power and hold off the number 10 of Eugene Thomas as Thomas opens up the door. That's going to allow Chaz Baca Jr. down the inside. Baca takes over that 3rd spot. A little power move down the back straightaway on the 10 of Thomas. Move Baca up to 3rd. Has his sight set now on 2nd place runner Troy DeGatton. Of course, passing points, Baca so far from 8th to 3rd. Trying to get one more here, and as well as the 6th seat of Briggs Danner. Briggs Danner very fast last night, had a 3.5 second lead before things went away. in last night's main event as Chaz Baca Jr. going top shelf on Troy DeGatton as they work their way off at turn number 2. DeGatton has about a slight edge on him as they drag race down the back straightaway. Now Baca going to drop the nose down to the inside of the racetrack. Danner going to follow him as now Danner goes side by side with Chaz Baca down the front straightaway. Baca though hangs on to that third position. Danner down the inside. They go side by side. Yellow flag is out. One car comes to a stop top of turn number 4. And that is Wayne Siddle in the 007. And the Wayne's Fault Racing Garrett Engines North End Diesel Repair. Driver out of Tucson, Arizona, bringing out the yellow flag. First one of the night. So 6 laps down will be a green-white checker to finish off heat race number 3, brought to you by Paint by Steve and the Race Shack. Lineup is good with Jason Persley out front. Troy DeGatton in the second spot. Chaz Baca running in third. Fourth is the 6C of Briggs Danner. Eugene Thomas rounds out your top 5, and that's Patrick Krob, Caden Clark, Blake Hendricks, and Nathan High. 9 drivers out of rolling as Wayne Siddle got the push. He will tag the tail end of the field. So lights go out. Green-white checker finish. 86 of Jason Persley. Leads the field to green, and just 2 laps remaining here in this one. The battle's going to be hot and heavy for that second spot as you see Briggs Danner and Chaz Baca go side by side, trying to work their way around the number 39T of Troy DeGatton. Gaten, though, able to hang on to us. Now they go 3 wide for a brief moment. Here comes Danner. Danner to the inside of Baca. He'll take over third. Coming off of turn number 2 is Jason Percy, the driver out of Locust Grove, Oklahoma. He has shot out and away from the field. He'll see the checker flag. He'll win heat race number 3. And Briggs Danner comes home in second. Baca snaps third at the line. He comes home in fourth. Eugene Thomas, 5th. Patrick Krob comes home in 6th. Caden Clark, 7th. 8th goes to Blake Hendricks. Nathan High, 9th. And Wayne Siddle in the 10th spot. But your winner of our Paint by Steve, the Race Shack Heat Race number 3 in the Monty Windows and Doors, Pristine Auction, Dawson Drink, CB Industries number 86. Locust Grove, Oklahoma, is Jason Persley. So 4th and final heat race of the night for your Sand Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Cars Series. You're ready to take to the racetrack. This one brought to you by Sand Chevrolet. On the pole in the Buzzard Pest Control, number 29 out of Phoenix, Arizona, is going to be Brent Yarnell. To his outside in the Jet Limousines, efficient roof recovery, price right auto sales, 10AZ out of Tempe, Arizona. Last night's hard charger, that is Stevie Sussex. Inside a row at number 2 in the Mesilla Valley Transportation Premium Coach Group, Sean Deskins Racing. Number 21S out of Goleta, California, is David Gasper. Outside of Gasper in the 3H Cattle Company, All-American Drilling, Kayama Buckhorn, Santa Barbara Pistachio Store. Number 5E out of New Kayama, California, is Alexa Herrera. Row number 3 on the inside in the Southwest Building Solutions, the Race Shack Paint by Steve, SMT Wheels, JP Potton Racing. Number 21P out of Hilo, Hawaii, that is the Hilo Warrior, the Pineapple, Dalen Pereira. And to the outside of Pereira, and the Diamond Lake Minerals Inc. Blood Racing Lubricants, Paint by Steve, the Race Shack. Number 0 out of Moore Park, California, is Jonas Reynolds. On the inside of row 4 in the Los Alamos Auto Parts and Services, J.B. Henderson Construction, Wind Supply of Albuquerque, 21X. Out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, is Caleb Stelzig. With the Desert Winds Automotive 51W out of Gilbert, that is Ronald Webster. In the 5th and final row on the inside is going to be the Mr. Honey DRD Graphics. 31H of Lonnie Hochstetler out of Chandler, Arizona, with QCG Inspections, Technoprint 4D out of Prescott, Arizona. It is Dayton Shelton. So the field getting lined up on Brent Yarnell. Looks like the Mr. Honey Dearity Graphics 31H of Lonnie Hochstetler not making the call. Oh, no, he is out there. Nope, just 9 cars, so yeah, Hochstetler not making the call. As the lights go out, Brent Yarnall, Stevie Sussex, your front row, David Gasper, Alexa Herrera in row 2, Dalen Pereira, Jonas Reynolds in row number 3 with Caleb Stelzig and Ronald Webster in row 4, and rounding out the rear, riding shotgun on the field is the 4D of Dayton Shelton. Of course, Dayton Shelton, the son of Johnny Shelton. Who raced in the initial inception of this series. Green flags in the air. Shan Chevrolet Heat Race number 4 is underway. And it's going to be Stevie Sussex breaking out to the top spot as we had him stacked up behind him, third on back. Have some issues getting off of turn number 2, but Stevie Sussex not having any issues at all. He'll lead the field off of turn number 4 and will lead lap number 1. Yarnell right now in that second spot. Third will be the 21S of David Gasper. As those 3 drivers starting to break away, fourth on back. Dalen Pereira now rides in that 4th spot. Ronald Webster in 5th. Webster, though, getting pressured right now from Dayton Shelton, who started this race in the 9th spot. Trying to get those all-important passing points. This is driver of the 4D out of Prescott, Arizona, trying to get around that black and orange number 51W of Webster. Out front, no change. Still Stevie Sussex showing the way. Has David Gasper's trying to find a different line. He's going to work his way around Yarnell for that 2nd spot. Yarnell almost made contact with the wall for turn number 4. Gasper drives away from Yarnell. As back behind Yarnell, you got Dalen Pereira trying to find some grip on the racetrack. Went all the way up to the top side in turn number 2, but formed the fluff. Around that 4th spot, though, holding off the 51W of Webster. He's right now running that 5th position. Dayton Shelton, he's about 8 car lengths behind Webster as they work their way down the back straightaway off of turn number 2. Out front, still no change. Stevie Sussex shows the way. That last lap had a 1.3 second advantage. This time, by the looks like it's shrunk. Yes, it has. It is inside of a second. David Gasper starting to light the wick. See if he can't work his way around Stevie Sussex. Sussex has the drop of the green flag here in heat race number 4. Last night, Hard Charger started 20th in the main event, came on to a 3rd place finish, did Stevie Sussex. One of the drivers doing double duty this evening. Right now showing the way, but David Gasper starting to reel him in as white flag flies. This time for Sussex. He'll leave him into turn 1, using that middle groove down there as they start working that cushion up the racetrack through turns 1 and 2. Gasper about 2 car lengths behind Stevie as Sussex goes to the bottom, drifts up high. He'll see the checkered flag off of turn number 4. Stevie Sussex wins Shan Chevrolet Heat Race number 4 over David Gasper in the 21S. Brent Yarnell hangs on to a 3rd place finish, barely over Dalen Pereira. Ronald Webster comes home in 5th. Dayton Shelton 6th. Caleb Stelzig was 7th in 21X. Jonas Reynolds 8th. Alexa Herrera was 9th. Lonnie Hochstetler did not start this one. But your heat race winner for heat race number 4, the Jet Limousines and Fisher Recovery Price Right Auto Sales, the Race Shack Paint by Steve, Bishop Power number 10 AZ out of Tempe, Arizona. Give it up for Stevie Sussex. And that will do it for heat race action for our Sand Chevrolet Wild West Sprint Cars Series. They'll be out a little bit later on for their B main. Will be 12 laps. Later on, we'll take the top 4 from that and join them with the top 20 in passing points from the heat races. In tonight's 25-lap main event, I believe we have qualifiers on tap.